This is the GPL podcast, part of the Pull Tab Sports family.
Oh boy. Jupe making mistakes. I love it. So, Sam, I think you might have gotten kicked out of a game, maybe?
Yeah.
For being a dirty player, toe Blake, Eddie Shore.
Eat that Schloss. Eat that Drew.
Now, here's Jupiter and Vigo. Good evening and welcome to the GPL podcast, episode number 295. Another roller coaster weekend, Vigs. Another roller coaster weekend.
Yeah, I think most Gopher fans going in the weekend were expecting to see some momentum from the Notre Dame series when they played the 1-1-3 of LIU and things got tough on Friday. Those dreams went down the drain, and luckily they rallied a little bit on Saturday to get the split. And that's not very encouraging for Gopher fans, but that's where they're at right now.
Well, we had a therapy session 2 weeks ago, and I already saw last Friday night that a lot of fans are saying we need another therapy session. I don't know if we're quite there yet again, but I can understand it. I mean, it's just not something this program is used to.
Yeah, they're not used to it. And LIU is a challenging team to play against. They're older. They won 20 games last year. If you look at the MPI, they're not a team like that's at the bottom of it. They're not a team in the 50s or 60s or something like that. So, they have played some tough games, and Minnesota hasn't been able to outscore its mistakes really this year. And so when they started stubbing their toe on Friday, they couldn't get away from it.
All right, well, let's get to our guests. We're have Cappy on again this week. It's first show of the year, and usually we have him for Ohio State, but Viggs in a couple weeks. We said we're going to have Dan Woog on to kind of near the anniversary of his father's death. So that's why we're having him on now for Penn State. So let's bring him in. Paul Caponigri, Big Ten Network, former OSU player.
What's up, boys? Yeah. Do I have to bring the hope here for the Gophers, or is that Biggs' department or what? But it's good to be here. Good to talk some pucks. The league, man. It's every year there's always kind of something you don't expect to happen early, and a lot of hockey to go.
Well, to be fair, Viggs, we all thought this was going to be a down year. Maybe not this much or this much inconsistency. But when quite a few players didn't come back, the positivity was not as positive. I'll tell you that.
No, they just don't have the leaders on the team who are putting the puck in the net consistently. Is probably good for Motzko to see Brody Lamb have some success this past weekend, see Jimmy Clark have some success, but there isn't really a high first round pick on this roster that you can just lean on to drive play, and you can't lean on them to rally the team. And so they're having some guys that are having to pull them in the fight. When your leaders are guys like Luke Middlestat and LJ Mooney, it's a little bit of an adjustment. And those two guys have really set the tone a lot of the time for the Gophers this season. And, it's been a little slower than everyone would like, I think, so far.
And Cappy, you were messaging us. I think you messaged us after Friday night, and you were like, I don't know how I'm going to be positive, guys, on the show next week. I'll do my best.
Well, that was, I think, after the second period of Friday night's game.
Yeah.
I was hoping for a big comeback in the third period. Yeah, I mean, you look at the roster, I think it's a solid roster, but there's nobody that jumps off the page, at least right now. I said this off cam. I think they're going to be, and this is on them a lot, and the coaching staff, is I think they're going to be a much better team in the second half. And maybe you're playing spoiler. Who knows? I mean, who knows what kind of role you can get on? But yeah, it's surprising. I thought they'd be around a 500 team. Tough schedule as always. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Long Island's tough. I mean, they did lose their coach, and some of their better players went with him to Ferris. But it's pretty cool to see a team they play hard, and for young teams to play against hard working older teams, that's where the consistency thing comes into play. And Minnesota hasn't found that yet. I still think there's just a lot of talent there that just needs to mature.
So a 6-2 loss Friday night, Vigs. It did kind of feel like rock bottom at times. Yes, we all know LIU is 15th, 20th, whatever they are on the NPI. But
are we allowed to look at? Wait, are we allowed to look at that yet?
Yeah.
Ask.
It's starting to make sense. It's starting to make sense. It's Minnesota's like 40th, so. But Vigs, I think it's just more of a old school Gopher mentality. We shouldn't be losing to teams like this. It's a brand new team, just a few years old. But some of us old school guys need to have some different thinking just because of the way college hockey is these days.
Well, I think it's never been easier to pull together a roster than in this era. With all the CHL guys, with all the guys you can pull out of the portal, with all the deferred enrollments that are happening across junior hockey, you're able to pull in guys who are 20, 21 who are going to be hard to play against. And then on top of that, you can get the guys who are 22, 23 in the portal and put together a very competitive roster very quickly. You're not a new coach saying, oh, I've got all these holes. I got to pull up an 18-year-old. No coach is really doing that. So it's nice that LIU's been able to take advantage of that. Minnesota, on the other hand, is stuck with their recruits and is kind of taking their licks. And I agree with Cappy. I think the Gophers are going to be a much better team in the second half, but they just got to continue to make progress. And we're seeing some progress on the back end. I think Rombach and Whipple are starting to play better. Having Cal Thomas back is very important for Minnesota. Luke Middlestad's played a ton of minutes so far. They just need a little bit more of that up front.
Viggs, what do you think of Thomas' return last weekend?
I thought he was fine. He's not really a dynamic first-round pick type player. He's kind of a defensive guy who's hard to play against. You wish the penalty kill was playing a little bit better right now because he can play such a big role on the penalty kill and shut down players that way. I think it's been a little slow for his season to get going this year. So we're still waiting and seeing.
There was a goal Friday night, Cappy, that I don't know what happened. The puck, the camera couldn't quite keep up with the puck. It must have hit something on the ice because all of a sudden it was in the back of the net. And poor Luca was just like, I don't know what just happened himself.
Yeah, I mean, that was what they say, the TSN turning point of that game. Because 5 seconds before that, I mean, Minnesota had a great A where LIU makes a great save. So, I mean, you're talking 2-goal swing there in a matter of seconds. And then that kind of goal, I mean, I don't care what team you are. That is going to be a deflating sequence and is going to challenge any team. I don't care if you are the 2000 Detroit Red Wings. I mean, that is just like a really terrible sequence and really tough to come back from.
I texted Eric Brevervigs, who was behind the goal right where Luca was, and he says, I kind of even missed it myself, and he is literally right there behind the goal. He says he was too busy. Like, how did we just miss that goal? And all of a sudden it was back in that. Even he missed it, being literally 10 feet away from it.
Yeah, they say hockey's got the funniest bounces because the puck can be too cold, it can be too hot, it can be the right temperature, it can be sticky, the ice can have ruts in it, the ice can be warm, you get weird things all the time. That's just an unlucky one, and unlucky to have it come in that game at that time. It
was a kind of a killer, Viggs.
I'll tell you, and just the one thing you got this game were easily the best two uniform, the combination with the baby blue, the shark blue, whatever you want to call it, and then that Gopher jersey is what the kids say fire. That combo is pretty sweet. Was it both nights? Was it that, or did they Gophers wore different?
It was just Friday night. It was kind of a color rush thing. I loved it because I got the shoot between the benches for 2 periods, and I talked to even you photographer. He's like, You know, a lot of people didn't like LIU's jerseys because it didn't go with their breezers. The breezers are just hockey pants.
Hockey's a weird one with the pants.
Yeah, it is. Vigs, I loved the color rush. I love that there's enough contrast there that they could play this. And, you know, we've talked about how we think North Dakota and Minnesota should always do kind of a color rush when they play. I liked what was going on Friday night with those colors. It was beautiful.
I thought it was the best thing about having LIU on the schedule is a chance to see those jerseys in person.
Yes.
You know, I thought that was great. You know, I was just reading something this week about how the NHL is maybe going to start encouraging some more color rush games. You know, they were having Detroit against the Rangers, red against blue. And you know, anytime you can get that to work, I think it's great. And it's fun to see.
Yeah, they shoot for it in those. Sorry, they shoot for those in like the. I think they just showed the Panthers and the Rangers what they're going to wear in the Winter Classic, and going to the pants. Like, what would be a good? Would the blue be good for the pants or the gold? I don't think so. I don't know what they had. I don't think it's almost too much of one of those if you put the breezers in that color.
What about white pants?
Ooh.
White gloves, white pants.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that would be the one of their three colors in their jersey. I think that would be the one you'd go with.
Yeah. You're right.
But the one that they used. And I just, you know, if we're going to, that's how bad it went, right? But I mean, even before the game starts, you're like, okay, I'm looking forward to this based on this.
Yes. Vigs, you and I played for the Rubes. One time we decided to wear red jerseys when the other team wore green. Great color rush, looked great. Until one of your meat line mates says, I'm red green colorblind.
Apparently that's a thing. So I guess you gotta figure that out too. Which is too bad.
He's like, "What are you doing? I'm like, I didn't know. I guess you could have a red blue. I don't know what all the different kind of color blindness there is, but I guess it could get tricky.
We're digging deep now.
I know, but I just remember him coming. He's like, I'm red, green colorblind. I can't tell the difference between the jerseys. I'm like,
oh yeah.
Oh my gosh,
that's a tough one.
I think we still won that game, being so.
I look back now.
Milan came through.
I look back now on our, we wore black. We had black helmets, black pants, and I'm like, look back on that now. I'm like, what were you doing? Because I think what now is great when you got the gray and the scarlet and the white and and the helmet. Like we did go to red, scarlet, and white helmets, home and roads. We never had the football, style like they do now. I thought that was probably the best thing they've done, and it just for all teams. Like I think Minnesota, it just kind of that jersey Minnesota had Friday. That's by far my favorite one I've seen. It's just fresh. It kind of has old vibe to it, but also new.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a difference. Obviously the team's got to win games. Fans are going to get, you know what, if they don't, but I think kids like that. I think it's good for recruiting, those little things. It's funny how that, does bring some attention.
Speaking of attention and bad attention, Vigs, the Gopher penalty kill right now is 62nd out of 63 teams in college hockey right now. And it definitely showed Friday night. What they give up 3 out of 4 opportunities.
Yeah, it's not going well for the penalty kill. And when you ask the coaches about it, they're like, "It's on us. We got to fix it." You ask the players, "It's on us. We got to block shots. We got to be in the right spots. We got to be clear with our transitions and trades and positioning." And it's just too many mistakes. I think it's been a real weakness of this team so far, and it's a surprising one for me. They do have some defenders who have some defending acumen. They have some forwards who have killed some penalties before, but this is a good coaching staff. You'd think they'd be able to figure this out a little bit faster than they have. And then on top of that, your best penalty killer sometimes has to be your goalie. And I'm not saying this is all on the goaltending, but you just need a little bit more consistency there. And so if this team is going to be a spoiler in the second half and maybe have a chance to be that team that could, improve itself enough, goaltending and penalty kill are going to have to come through for them.
And Cappy, it didn't help as they started the weekend. They were also like 60th out of 63 on the power play. They did improve it over Saturday night, but special teams not going good for Minnesota.
Yeah, obviously, I think Cal Thomas over time now, if he's healthy, will help the PK. I think also, like, when you're talking numbers like that, it can get in your head after a while. And, like you're trying, coaches are saying this, players saying the right things, all that. But you need some luck sometimes, too. You need the puck to go off a skate or go wide, like those little things sometimes. And then you get 4 in a row. And then you get a whole game without a kill, or you got it. You can't keep giving up 2 or 3, and your head's up, and then you're still trying your best, but like it gets in your head, and you're human beings, and when you see that happen over and over again, so it's little baby steps, and obviously getting better players, and then power play. I mean, I think we were concerned about this before the season. You lose that quarterback on the power play. I think, Leo Gruba was a guy they're really hoping for. I think he still could be, but Sam Renzel was so good on the power play, rushing, getting the puck in the zone, just being that threat up top, opened up. And then obviously, you lose guys like Stuggerud and Wood and all that. It's going to be different guys, but that quarterback is probably that spot that they need to kind of get the whole thing going on the power play.
I haven't been as worried about the power play in terms of how they look on the ice, with the process. I think they've got some pieces in place with Middlestat and Mooney and Lamb and Zemer. I think Tanner Ludke's been a good bumper net front guy for them. I need to see a little bit more decisiveness, getting pucks to the net and then getting those second and third chances. I think sometimes they've been a little hesitant to get their rotation going. And it's just something, they've got so many new faces out there. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I'm not as worried about the power play as I am with the penalty kill.
Well, the power play, Friday night or Saturday night, I did notice, Viggs, that they switched up Mooney. They put Mooney on the right side. I mean, he wasn't there 100% of the time, but when he was out there to start a power play, I noticed he was on the right side instead of the left side, facing the goalie. And he set up Brody Lamb for a very Snuggerud-ish goal, and it was real quick.
Yeah, I asked Middlestat about that after the game, and he's like, it makes a lot of sense. Moons has got the great vision to see everything. It allows him to see the center of the ice easier and make those passes. And for Lamb, maybe it's a little less pressure to be a playmaker and a little more of an opportunity for him to shoot the puck. Because I think that's when he's shown that he's been dangerous, is shooting pucks, getting to rebounds, attacking the net. I think when he's on his off wing, it's probably easier for him to get into those plays. Whereas if he's on his strong side, you're almost forcing the puck to go through him in something maybe he's not comfortable doing.
It's funny you bring that up because, it's a NHL thing, but a guy here in Chicago was, they just, hey, he's the young superstar. Let's put him on his Ovechkin side and let's shoot one-timers, and that's going to be it. And it just was not working. What they do, they put him over on his offside, and their power play has been unbelievable because now he's a shot pass option. I love it. I always played my off wing. You just kind of, and it's not really your off wing. It's kind of your strong side wing, as if you were playing up and down the wing, but it's your offside for the power play situation. I just think it opens up a guy, you do that little curl out to get your momentum coming back in, and it just opens 3 different avenues. And LJ Mooney, I think that's more of his sweet spot. And like you said with Lamb, he's more of a doer than a thinker. I think he's better when he's doing that. Too much thinking, he gets in his own way. So that's a really nice change up there. And these guys watch a lot of NHL games. They're not dumb. I mean, Coach Moskow and Killer are great coaches. They watch a ton of hockey, and that's a great adjustment.
Viggs, by having a successful, Saturday night, they ended up jumping about 20 spots to number 40. It's the percentages are real close there. Still not the greatest. So things can only go up there for both sides, really.
Yeah, and I think as the players get more comfortable, it's going to help. I think one thing on the power play, we've seen Mooney taking some power play draws when he's on his strong side. Face-offs, again, for this team have been a little bit of an issue, both with the penalty kill and the power play. So they still need some guys to emerge there. Mason Moe is a guy who's looked comfortable at center, even with Ludke coming back in the lineup. He stayed at center. Maybe that's something he finds his way on the penalty kill a little bit more, and they elevate his role. Because I think Mason Moe's made a nice impression on the staff and the fans so far.
Veeks, I've been hearing a lot of people saying they want to see John Middlestead on that kill. Has he not been playing there as much? Because it's more about his effort out there. And that's what a lot of penalty kill is about.
Yeah, I think we talked about this last week. I think John Middlestead would be a good fit. I'm obviously not the coach and can only see it from here. But he's an older guy. He plays hard when he's in there. He's not afraid to block shots. He's not afraid to jump into 50-50 battles when he sees that he has a chance. And he's not a reckless player. John Middlestead's a guy who plays within himself when he's out there. He's not going to jump out of the system to try to get a scoring chance or something like that.
How are you on the penalty kill there, Cappy?
How am I in terms of
how were you
as a penalty killer?
Yeah, how are you?
I think I was pretty good.
Okay.
I did get to play. I mean, I luckily enough to play in all situations. I wasn't a speed guy. I was a smart guy, like being in the right spot. Always had my stick on the ice. Like I'm watching my little nephew now play. He's 9 years old, and he's a defenseman. And I'm watching him skate back to the puck, and he's got his hands up in his waist with his stick. And I'm like, I don't want to say anything, but I'm like, get your stick on the ice. Like skate with your stick on the ice. Have your sticks in lanes. Like those little things on the penalty kill, it can prevent a pass from even being attempted. Like you put your stick in the right spot, they don't even try to make that seam pass or whatever. You know what I mean? So, look, if things aren't working right now, you got to give other guys a shot. If what's that, definition of insanity, keep rolling the same thing out there. So hopefully, John's got some experience, right? That's if he's playing any special teams, it's that, right? So,
right.
The other guy I wanted to kind of talk about, because I seen him last year in Waterloo, and he just made his debut this weekend, was it? I think Teddy Townsend is going to be a player. And he's got some speed, and he played in all situations for that Waterloo team that almost won the Clark Cup last year. So it'll be interesting to see how he kind of, works his way into. He scored a goal on the weekend.
He did.
I think he's a guy that, I don't know if he's going to be a star player right away, but I think that's a guy that maybe that will help that wasn't around early in the season.
Both he and Rombach got their first point on Townsend's goal.
Yeah, I think Townsend adds a little bit of speed.
Yeah.
If you look at the Gopher roster this year, there's a lot of size, but there hasn't really been a lot of noticeable speed either in transition or on the forecheck. So I think Teddy Townsend definitely adds an element there that they're missing, and we'll probably give him a chance to make an impact this year. And I do think, Motzko traditionally, gives guys until about this time of year to sort things out and figure out, this is the spot we thought we were going to put you in. We've coached you up on it. Are you still making the mistakes? Okay, now it's time to make changes as we head into winter break.
Yeah, but I don't think he's ever had a record like this.
No.
So, but everything's getting evolved now. Recruiting, everything. Bob's got everyone is adjusting literally on the fly, and I think that's something that you live and learn from. Changes.
Viggs, so speaking of size and kind of speaking of your pride on ice behind you there, it's going to be a whiteout this Friday night. And if anyone saw the video showing your little pride on ice towel there between Rombach and LJ Mooney today, it's a foot difference between those two.
Yeah, at the summer showcase, we definitely saw the difference when I'm looking way up at one and a little bit down at the other one. So, yeah, the towels will be out on Friday night, one in every seat. I know that some of them might be autographed, so keep your eye out if you're going to the game.
Very cool. Very cool.
Nice.
when I got LJ Mooney video a couple weeks ago, right before he started, I think he saw me tilt the camera down, and I'm like, "Oh, don't look what I'm doing."
I think he's a pretty self-aware kid. He knows, and I think he uses it as a not it's some like per se in what you did, but like he's probably dealt with in his life throughout.
Oh yeah, and he's got a great personality, Viggs. He's very fun to talk to.
Yeah, and except if you were on the LAU bench at the end of the game on Saturday, Mooney drew a penalty there in front of the Sharks, and it was letting them hear it that they were getting the split that night. So
he's got to be careful. He's got to be careful with that because exactly what you just said. The last part of that sentence, you can't be talking that way after a split at home against a 3-year program. Sorry.
Probably not. If it's against Gavin McKenna at the end of this weekend, maybe it's a little bit different story.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I think it was
top 5 team in the country. Yes.
I think Ludke ended up getting a penalty similar to that on Friday night, Viggs, for basically dropping a couple swear words at the ref, and got himself 10-minute misconduct and could have gotten also a 2-minute minor there. So it should have been a 2-man advantage for LIU, but old Bruggeman admitted he just forgot.
It was a tough series, a lot of penalties. I was listening to Wally a little bit on the radio, and he's like, "These guys love to call penalties," and I wanted to go right away to our GPL page where we've got all the stats on the officials as they've called penalties in Gopher series over the years. And I don't think Bruggeman's that out of line with what he called. No, it's just it was a tight weekend this weekend, and Friday was a tough one for Minnesota, and then on Saturday it worked out. So
tell me the positives from that Saturday win, Viggs.
I think the fact that they followed through on what the coaching staff wanted them to do. Motzko said, you give up 6 goals. All we were talking about was our play in the offensive zone, creating traffic, getting in front of the goalie, taking away his eyes. Because if you saw on Friday night, Minnesota had chances.
Oh, yes.
They had chances, but the goalie saw everything. Everything was, right in front of him, and so he could make saves on it. Some of them were lucky with the reverse paddle on Lamb early, but other ones were great saves. And so if you put a little traffic in front of a goalie, his job gets a lot harder. And so seeing Minnesota do that and execute that game plan and get a lot of goals around the net from a lot of different people had to be encouraging to see.
Cappy, we're just looking for some kind of consistency. This up and down stuff is just not going to fly.
Yeah, I mean, well, they had a really nice weekend before that, right? So you're thinking, hey, okay, let's go. But that's where you get maybe the inexperience of, some young guys that, okay, we just swept Notre Dame at home. Clearly, this team's not going to be as good as Notre Dame. So, and it can be just this much of us take a little off the pedal, and then like you said, a goaltender makes some saves. You get a fluky goal at the other end, and bang, the vibes can change that fast. So that's a really good learning game that you didn't want, obviously, but maybe you needed a little just to remind these young guys that you can never take your foot off the pedal against any team. Yeah, you might not have your best game that night, but you're going to bring your intensity and your effort every night. And you can never let that down in college hockey now because, you're seeing it all over. Denver lost to Lindenwood. Ohio State lost to Sacred Heart. Anybody can beat anybody on any given night in college hockey now, like how Viggs talked about how deep the pool is. And honestly, there could be another 6 or 8 Division I teams easily right now, minimum. Especially now that the pool is wide open, the European players, well, obviously that, yes.
Yeah.
But just in terms of players and how hard it is now to get into college hockey and get a Division I scholarship.
All right. Well, it's time to move on, Viggs. And that means we need to talk about one of our sponsors here, Gateway Fiber. They have the north side all covered, don't they?
That's right. We're the state of hockey, and a bad internet connection's like a bad line change. Slows everything down, causes chaos, might even lose you the game. Gateway Fiber's here. Keep your internet skating at full speed. They've been taking on big cable for years and have come to Minnesota offering faster speeds, better reliability, and customer service that doesn't sit in the penalty box. Gateway Fiber isn't just another provider. They're on your team. Visit gatewayfiber.com or call 201-4339 to see if Gateway Fiber is available in your area, because life's too short for bad internet.
All right. And of course, we thank Gateway Fiber for sponsoring the GPL podcast. Top 20 this week, Vigs. You're starting to get a little more consistency at the top.
Well, I think one of the things in college hockey, as Cappy was just saying, is that so many teams are dropping games. You know, it's really hard to see who's separating right now in the top 20. I've got the West at the top of my poll. Maybe it's my Western bias, but I've just seen the Western teams have the bigger wins, have less games that they're dropping. Whereas on the East Coast, you're just seeing so many teams that lose games you don't expect them to lose. And it's just hard to really figure out which one of them is going to elevate into even the top 5 right now at this point. But Michigan State looks really, really strong. You know, they played Penn State really hard this last weekend. You know, Denver's recovered after some early losses. And I think we've been surprised with North Dakota and Minnesota Duluth this year, how well they've played. You know, Minnesota Duluth lost one game this last weekend, but they still have a very strong record.
You know, those North Dakota fans are probably thinking Minnesota's really dragging us down right now. I mean, they lost 5-1 at home to Minnesota.
From well, hey, I mean, look, North Dakota's had a couple rough years and not that far distant, you know, ago. But I'm a little surprised with Michigan dropping from 6-2 to 6 after winning at Penn State 7-1 and then losing 4-2. That's a precipitous drop playing a top 5 team on the road. In my, you know, just looking at what you have, I mean, you have some teams in that I have in at the bottom, like look, I'm going to go homer here with Ohio State. I don't know how they're not in the rankings right now. But you know, whatever. Dartmouth 6-0. You got to give them. I haven't seen them play, but they're 6-0. BU is just, it's wild. I barely have them in. I think I had them at 18. I mean, the one East team that I have higher is Quinnipiac. I have them at about 6, I think, or 5. I mean, they just demolished BU the other night, 6-2.
But then they dropped the game to Yale the week before, so it's like, it's hard.
Okay, but look, I mean, you got Denver at 2. They lost to Lindenwood. I mean, you know, it's wild. They just been a little more consistent. But I mean, I don't know. You haven't seen all these teams play a ton of games. UConn is a tough team. You know, Duluth. I think I still have Duluth at like 4. They're just consistent on offense. They're just scoring goals and Guyon and net is talk about a guy that has been able to delete his freshman year and now as a sophomore has been really, really good.
Vigs, we do need to keep. Oh, I was just going to say you need to keep an eye on Dartmouth because they are 6-0 and they're number 1 in the NPI right now. NPI is still coming together, yes, but it is making more sense each week. You've been saying.
I feel like we're starting to get some information out of it that aligns a little bit. You know, the ECAC teams need to play more games. You know, they need to get 10, 12 games before things start to make sense there. You know, we've got one more stretch of non-conference games coming up, but it certainly looks like the Big Ten is going to be having a huge advantage going into the NCAAs. You know, NCHC is the second conference in terms of that ranking, and then Hockey East. So I think that's one of the things you can usually get from MPI and pairwise is like your conferences are going to have teams up there. And I definitely think we're getting a top 8 that's starting to separate itself from the rest of the college hockey. But then 9 to like 16 are teams that you feel like should be there, but you don't know where they are or if one of them should maybe get in the top 8. And then after that, there's just a cycle of about 8 or 9 teams that are all kind of that 16 to 25 right now. And it's really hard to identify who out of that group is going to be competing for a bid at the end of the year.
Tech, Omaha, Minnesota State. You've had Tech and Minnesota State in the top 20 this year, Vigs. So they've made a return appearance.
Omaha's been up and down, right?
Yeah.
Like, very.
They've got a great goalie, and they're just hard to beat because of that.
Yeah. I've had Union in. I mean, their record's really good. I saw Bushi had RIT in his 16. I'm like, where did this come from? And I looked, and they're 9-2. And I mean, you gotta give them a little credit for that. I don't know who they've beaten. I don't think they've beaten anybody, but still 9-2 is 9-2. I'm sure he did that just as a little bit of a, hey, little. I mean, kudos to them, because I mean, they lost their coach. I mean, they lost all their good players from a couple of years ago, and to be 9-2, that's pretty impressive. So I'm not hating on that, and it's still so early. Maine's kind of been up and down. I think everybody thought Maine was going to be a top 5 team. BC's been. I had them out. Now they're back in. They had a rough 4 games or whatever that was. So, and like you said, there's so many teams that you're like, okay, if you go on a little streak down, we'll find somebody to take your spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is one of those years in college hockey where the fine line between winning and losing has never been smaller, I think, across. Like, there are 50 good teams in college hockey right now, I think, maybe even more. It's just so easy to fill out your roster with guys from CHL or, deferred juniors. It's never been harder to be an American wanting to play D1 hockey, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Cappy, what is going on with the women's, maybe men's arena at Ohio State? We haven't had an update on that in forever.
God, I mean, you just wanted to make me mad tonight, huh? No, honestly, I mean, I think there's hope now in terms of, because, quite frankly, the new athletic director, Ross Bjork, we actually had an alumni Zoom with him late last spring or so.
Okay.
And I think there's a plan. The spot is there. I think they want to announce it so that they can start making it more easily to raise money, which I don't know the books at Ohio State. All I know is they got a lot of money. So I say it's going to happen. I think now I feel a little more confident that it's going to happen, because he was really pissed off. Like, he came from Texas A&M. He didn't know anything really about hockey, right? In terms of what happens in the playoffs. He was not happy that they had to go play down at Nationwide Arena in the first round of the playoffs last year against Wisconsin. And that was just something brand new to him, right? He had no idea that was something that would happen at his university. So he definitely wants it to happen. I think the president is a huge hockey guy. I think that helps it. So he, obviously, if they need a nudge, he would be a guy that would be willing to do that. So I wish I had a better update. But I think the most confident I think that's going to happen. I just don't know when, and that just really sucks.
Someone send him over to the women's arena to watch a game. Just send him over there.
The president has been there like 3 times to drop the puck. He loves hockey. He wears his bomber jacket. I mean, he knows. I mean, I'm sure Ross has been there now. He's seen the program, which they're number 3 now, which I don't really understand. They have 1 loss. Minnesota has 2. I guess because they beat Wisconsin. Whatever. But, I mean, they've been in the national championship.
Okay, you got to remember, Wisconsin hadn't lost in like a year. So
totally.
That's
their last losses were to Ohio.
It was at home.
Could have lost the Natty Championship last year. I'm still fired up about that. I don't tweet often. I tweeted that day. Anyway. But no, I mean, they earned it.
That was crazy.
Yes, it was. But they earned that program has earned something better. You cannot be that good and be playing in a old ratty barn that they're playing in.
Viggs, you and I agree 1,000%. We just hopefully they build something kind of the new popular thing. 4,000 to 6,000, probably closer to 5 or 6.
From what they just talked, sorry to interrupt, but it's like a Notre Dame type rink.
Perfect.
4,500 with the concourse above that you could probably fit another 600 or 700 people in the standing room. The suites above it on both sides. Notre Dame would be the perfect kind of template.
And Viggs, that's nothing but positivity for college hockey and Big Ten hockey.
Well, it's great. It looks better on TV to have buildings like that where you have fans there. I think anytime you can have like the club bar type atmosphere for luxury premium seating, that's a benefit for a program. It helps fundraise it. It helps keep the donors happy. And, those seats are often usually sold because it's easy to sell premium typically. But It'd be good for college hockey. I know that they have the plans already done based on the Regents documents I've been able to see from Ohio State or the trustees. They have some of that stuff out there. They just are
the land is there.
Yeah. It's just a crazy time in college athletics.
Where's all that money going?
It's going to football and basketball and
football's pretty good.
Revenue share and
Well, Viggs,
they have some debt to pay off.
Viggs, we did get an interesting, a message on GPL message board today talking about, the word is out there, Michigan State and Penn State, they're spending like $1 million or $2 million a piece on hockey players. And my basic response is, we know nothing. What we're really going off of is most likely parents putting dollar figures out there, and to the lesser point, agents as well. There is nothing to confirm any kind of money at any school when it comes to hockey right now.
Yeah, all the numbers are just kind of smoke out there. The best thing that we'll see at the end of this fiscal year is when schools have to report to the NCAA. They're going to have to say how much revenue share they gave to each program. And so that we still won't know who is actually getting the money, but you'll get a pretty good idea. If there's a hockey program out there that with a 7-digit expense for revenue share, it's going to show you they're spending a lot of money. But I just don't think that those big dollars are out there for hockey.
And you've been hearing something similar, haven't you, Cappy?
Yeah, I have been hearing a few numbers, and from relatively decent sources. I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
Obviously, some guys got some money. There's two guys that's pretty obvious. We know one shoe fell and then the other one fell between the two schools, and the numbers, it's in a ballpark of money we've never heard of before in college hockey for one player or two players. So that's just, great for them, great for the sport, I guess. Everyone's going to have to figure it out. Do they have the money to do it? I know Ohio State right now does not have a lot of money, if at any, for hockey players to pay them to come to Ohio State. And that's just a fact. I don't know if they'll get. There's 36 Division I sports at Ohio State. They have the most of any school. How does that get split up when you have the monster of football and then everyone else? So Minnesota's going to probably have, an interesting debate, because Minnesota's the one program there that brings in the money. They're the one team that brings in revenue every year, pretty much. Don't they?
Yes, but it's not included in any of that, is it, Viggs?
Well, in terms of like the NIL money and stuff, is that what you're saying? It's not included? Because I'm saying Minnesota makes money on men's hockey. Like they're a positive revenue team with the amount of tickets they sell, with the amount of contributions that are coming into the university for men's hockey. There is an opportunity there. And so like when Jimmy Snuggerud decided to come back, there was money there for him to get, to not NHL money, but it was money to, help him, have one more year on campus and get a little something in between. And I think that is kind of the model that if Minnesota is going to pay players, that's the situation they want to do it. They don't want to spend it on somebody who's 17 or 18 coming and probably one and done. That's probably just not a very good use of those resources that are limited. The better resources is to use the revenue share to pay more full ride scholarships. And I think that's something that we've talked about with Nick Angel and the Golden Helmet Collective. That's something that they could see happening, is where all those scholarships are fully funded at a starting point, because then that money isn't taxed and the players don't have any debt from school. So there are options there.
And I think, and they started it. They were one of the first ones to have the players can get paid for name, image, and likeness, jersey sales and stuff. Because Minnesota is one of the schools, very few besides North Dakota, that players, Snuggerud jerseys will, you're going to make thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars. No, but some of these guys, most college hockey guys, are pretty happy to get a nice little extra chunk.
But they're not doing that. They're not doing that.
I thought they were doing
you're
that.
You're not seeing jerseys with names on it.
Well, you're seeing the screen printed jerseys, like the more value ones. Well, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit higher quality. It's like the the sublime or whatever.
But what's the what are
jersey.
they getting? What is that they're doing at the school? What they can the last couple of years? What do they call that? The
Dinky Town?
Yeah, Dinky Town. Did that kind of just fall off, or
no? It's there
because they were the first ones to kind of create that of any school, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean they were on board with some of the original like print on demand player name, image, likeness type stuff. I don't think it's been as big of a emphasis lately since Renzel, Moore, Chesley, Kurth all left early. I think there was probably some funding there if those guys wanted to come back, but I don't think it was even a discussion point for them.
Yeah. Well,
it's still a wait and see thing. Really, it is, Cappy.
Sure. And I think the other thing though that is important is like, okay, where are they going to recruit now though? It's not all about money. Not all these guys got money. They're coming now with opportunity to go play at a university, and the CHL players, it's got to be an option. It's got to be something that they make, I don't want to say priority, but you don't want to miss the boat when there's a whole new plethora of players. I compared it to football. Say in football, college football, Florida was not available to college football, and they had their own league because they're so good down there. And then all of a sudden, the next 1 year, they finally agreed to join college football and become part of the pool of players. That is, you can compare to Canada all of a sudden becoming a wide range of players available now to all the universities in college hockey. And I think you cannot sit around and let everyone else get all those players. And you kind of sit back and kind of, you can keep your recruiting this way, but if the results don't catch up this year and they struggle again, people are going to start wondering, why aren't you going after this new pool of players?
Ed Vigs, that's kind of where a lot of fans have been going after during this struggling start. They're like, why don't we have any CHL players? Why don't we have a full roster? These are legit questions that we'll see at the end of the season.
Yeah, one of the Golden Gopher Fun events was this weekend where fans got to go ask questions of Bob Motzko before the game on Friday, I think. And fans were asking questions about these things. And, Bob had to, say his speech. And, he didn't want to dip into the CHL. He wanted to stick with the guys he recruited that he liked. And they're going through the growing pains, but this is the path that he wants to go through. He's confident that they're going to come out on the other side in better shape than they would if they would have gone into the CHL this year. Because I do think, you look at the CHL players, are they going to stick around for 2-3 years? How many of these guys are going to fit in college? That's something you got to know before you start building a roster with them. And, as good as Michigan State looks, if a lot of those guys leave after this year and go play in the AHL next year, that's going to be tough for Michigan State going forward.
But if they win a national championship on the way,
all worth it.
That's just it.
Because they're just building credibility right now. And so I think the next guy will see, Porter Martone just did that. So who's the next guy that's just got drafted, but he's not ready? He's that 8th pick in the draft, but he's not quite ready for the NHL. So I'm going to go play a year of college hockey. It's not going to be a perfect science every time, but it kind of builds a template of, okay, I can do it this way. And then, I'm not saying Bob should have done this or that. Nobody knows for sure how it should have gone, but you did have that one roster spot at the bottom there. Look, I'm not going to knock a kid given opportunity because, he wasn't a Division I hockey player. You had a spot there. Maybe you could have gone somewhere in the CHL, the Q, Western League, and found a guy that maybe was a little more talented. No knock on any player, but that's a spot where you had a kind of little chip to play with, and they decided not to go that route.
Well, I think the big reason they saved the spot was Nathan Airy had his injury issues when he came to campus.
The roster thing's a whole nother crappy.
Right. And I think that made it more complicated for Minnesota because you don't want to go to a season where you have Luka coming in as your transfer goalie. You have a good feel for him, but you don't really know. Right. And then you have a goalie who's got an injury history. And then you've got a third goalie who's more of a practice goalie.
Sure.
Not someone you want to have starting a lot of games. Worked out with Justin Close, but I don't know if Lightning's going to strike twice in that situation. And you probably don't want to do that if you're Minnesota. So I think that's a big reason why they kept that extra spot.
It was a tough call, and I don't agree with this 26 roster.
No.
I think it'll change, just like everything. They splash a number out there, and then you work off of it. So hopefully it gets there, at least get some kind of leeway on it.
Well, I think we're going to see teams here over break running out lineups that are short. As guys get hurt, as guys leave for, the Davos, Switzerland deal, as guys leave for World Junior, I think we're going to see some teams playing short.
Yeah.
Viggs, what does it mean that Carter Casey signed his letter of intent a couple days ago? Does that mean he has a year? He may come in next year? What does that really mean?
It's interesting. Minnesota is starting to sign guys maybe a year early, like as we saw with Kwasnicka and Maceo Phillips. They signed, but they went and played another year junior.
Correct.
Nevers signed early, went back, played another year juniors. They've been doing this quite a bit. Typically, when you sign this agreement, you're admitting that we have a spot for you next year. And if they choose not to give you that spot next year, you're supposed to be back on the market. And you can sign with anybody.
He's on the market now. Let's be honest. You sign your national. It doesn't mean. I mean, it's saying you're committing, but if something goes wild or something, he could easily be playing somewhere else next year.
Right.
I mean, it's the wild.
But technically, Weiss is a senior, so they will have a third spot, Viggs, on the roster for him if he wants to come in early.
Yeah, especially a goalie. You probably don't want to be the third goalie if you're a talent like that. I've seen scouting reports that say Casey could be, a top 50 draft pick, because of his size and ability and the way he's looked at Medicine Hat. But the other thing is that when you sign that, other teams aren't supposed to be able to recruit you anymore. Yeah. So if you are going to flip, it's going to be because you want to, and you have your advisor out there talking to school saying, if I were to decommit and get out of my agreement, would you have a spot for me? That's how it happens then.
Sure. It's so easily now manipulated without the kid being involved. He says, hey, I want to do this or that. The agent just does it. And then it's not on the kid. I will tell you, man, I was super impressed with him last year doing that USHL, the finals. I mean, he came from high school, wasn't supposed to play. Their guy gets hurt. He goes in and he was awesome. And you're waiting for like maybe a hiccup. And he had maybe a rough period. I'm trying to remember one of the periods. It was the first home game for Muskegon. So they were coming out fast and furious. And he settled in like a seasoned pro as a 17-year-old. And I just was like, and he's a Minnesota kid. I'm like, the Gophers need to be on this guy. And Steve Miller texted me during, he's like, hey, are you doing the broadcast? I'm like, he's like, yeah. He's like, oh yeah, we got Teddy. And I'm like, are you watching that goalie too? I didn't say that, but I'm like, he's got to be watching him. And I'm like, this kid is super impressive. He's a Minnesota kid. There hasn't been a lot of that happening, right, with the Gophers lately. I'm like, they got to lock this kid down. He looks really good. And from what you've said, he's having another, full year now in junior, and he's doing well. If things go a little crooked this year completely, I would not be surprised if he's on the team next year.
Right. I mean,
both goalies are juniors, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, you want goalies to play. So if you're gonna get him, that means he's getting a fair chance.
Well, you might be having conversations with one of those other guys saying, hey, we're bringing in this guy. You're one of three if you want it, or you can go and, that's the business now, right? This is the NH. This is pro hockey. You can
essentially it is.
I'm out. I'm going to wherever. So, but I was really impressed with him last year. That's a good recruit to get.
All right, we need to get to Penn State here, and obviously Mr. NIL himself, Gavin McKenna, coming in. But first, Viggs, have you been shopping at Cub yet for Thanksgiving?
I've started to put together a menu. I've been browsing some of the items at Cub.
Okay.
I'm down there because it's fall. You know, we're still doing the apples, we're still doing the caramel dip, but we're starting to get into a little more pumpkin stuff as we get ready for Thanksgiving. And Cub's your one-stop shop for everything fall, whether you're baking, hosting, game day, Thanksgiving, cozy night in. Cub has the flavors that make fall feel like fall. So swing by your local Cub, stock up on all your seasonal favorites, because nothing says fall in Minnesota like comfort food from Cub. Shop happy.
All right, Viggs. I expect we're gonna have a full menu next week from your purchases at Cub for Thanksgiving with Kinger next weekend. You got something, Cappy?
I gotta say, I don't know if this has ever happened on your podcast, but if my iPad runs out of battery, I'm switching to my phone here quick. So I have it ready just for you. If we gotta switch me out and put me on my iPhone,
yeah, you could. Just plug it in.
I'm in the middle of a room, and even my 10-foot one is too far away. So if that happens, I'm at 4%.
Such a rookie mistake, huh?
I got low power mode.
He's been on the show like 50 million times.
I had this thing at 100%. I don't know where it went. The juice is gone.
Oh, he was freezing up a little bit, Viggs. I'm a little worried.
See, that's what's happening.
Big TV star Cappy.
Oh.
Yeah. Are you kidding? I've been on once in October. I mean,
he's bitter.
Waiting very restlessly to get back in there. So hopefully I don't. Well, I'm going to fall off here at some point. I'm ready. I got the phone ready.
And then you're going to be the Pat Micheletti. You're going to be back on the phone, and you're going to be holding it at interesting angles. Yep.
It'd be perfect.
By the way, Pat Micheletti back this weekend, Viggs. That's exciting.
That's good. I was glad he got to Mayo and got help and is healing up.
Oh, that's great. Great news, man.
Yes.
Love Pat. Pat's a man.
He is. He'll be doing, it looks like radio Friday night and TV Saturday night. So good for him. Great for him to be back. He's complaining about the podcast times. It was too late for him tonight, Viggs. Of course. What are you
trying to help him? 9:00 instead of 9:30.
Yeah, if we can, when we have him on the second half of the season, we'll try to move it up. Try, right, Viggs? We'll try.
We'll look at the schedules. Yeah. I'm coaching my 2 hockey teams. You know, it's challenging.
Ooh.
I was on the ice tonight, so
busy man.
That's why I was right on the bucket at 9:00 here. So Cappy, national perspective of Penn State. You are expert on this. I know you've been watching the Nittany Lions, and
of course, good. They're missing their best defenseman, a key guy, Cade Christensen, who came on last year, was maybe their best defenseman. Has been out all year. Big number 27, kind of just a calming guy back there. I think that would make their decor better. And then look. That line, everyone thought McKenna. I'm like, people forgot like how that team got to the Frozen Four last year was the DeMarco, Webush, and Serrato line, and those guys have been awesome. I think this is the first time they've ever had crazy, expectations.
Yes,
and they're getting everybody's best shot. They're not the little guy anymore. And it is not easy. I think they thought they were just gonna Stonehill and like they were just gonna go roll through those games, and that did not happen. So I think they're in a learning curve, and they're also like trying to deal with this another thing nobody's ever dealt with is you get this guy Gavin McKenna, who's larger than life, comes to Happy Valley to play college hockey, which is just. Asked 7 years ago, if you would have said something like this would have happened, no shot, right? And I just think so many expectations, and then the media and all that, and maybe at times they're watching McKenna instead of going to play hockey. They're still a top 5 team, I think, right now. It's just a whirlwind of stuff, and I think I'm waiting till like January, February, especially on McKenna alone, once he goes to World Juniors and comes back. I just think that this team is hard to judge right now until later in the year to get kind of their full product. and maybe just out of this haze of expectations for the first time ever. So yeah, it's an interesting team. Their goaltending, I actually like the freshman maybe a little better. Fleming has been more consistent than I think. Riedler's got the talent. You've seen it at times, but he's also let some loose ones in. So we'll see. It's interesting. You know, they won with Fleming and net. I'm assuming he's going to go on Friday night, the freshman. So interesting team coming in. I don't know what to expect on Friday night, to be honest.
Honestly, Biggs, I don't know what to expect either.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be one of those games where I think Minnesota has to find their identity that I've been suggesting they have to play this year, which is hard to play against, disciplined, defensive, stay out of the box, possess the puck, string shifts together. Like, you have to play that way with, I think, the roster the Gophers have this year. So I think at times they haven't shown that they understand that part of the game, and they get into loose play and they get a little bit on their heels and they don't close gaps. And all of a sudden you give the other team some momentum and you get hemmed in, and then you're just defending, dumping, getting off. The next line's out there defending, dumping, getting off, and they don't have the players to really kind of get possession back of the game. So I think that's their challenge this weekend is to play the style they're going to have to play to be successful. And it's going to be tricky against Penn State, who is so much in your face all the time. They are going to challenge you. They are going to put pressure on your defense. They're going to put 2 forecheckers on the puck a lot. They're going to overload sides of the ice. They're going to try to beat you at the half wall all the time. And it's going to be a high intensity game, which will be quite the challenge for Minnesota. It's good that they have Cal Thomas back. It's good they have Tanner Ludke back. I think it's good that Mason Moe is developing as a center for them. You know, can handle some of that physicality, but it's going to be a big test.
Viggs, I'm still waiting for Paulson to arrive. I think a lot of fans are as well.
Yeah, I think we had high hopes with the way he and Hendrickson played in the USHL and the way he started to click just before he got hurt last year. We just
especially with
haven't,
Snuggerud, yes.
Yeah, we just haven't seen him elevate his game yet this season. I don't know if he's running out of time or not, but it's definitely a player that's on the brink here, I think.
Got to stay out of the box. You said that penalty kill. I mean, yes, Cal Thomas will help, and it's his second weekend. But, man, that power play, Penn State can be dangerous with those. They put they put that line out there with McKenna, and then I think they had Smith out there, the other young freshman first rounder, as the point man. But those guys can whip it around. So, you say be aggressive, but that fine line of don't get that penalty, don't finish that check or too high, or, those little things, those details, like you said, are going to be important to be aggressive, but don't take those penalties and get yourself behind on that power play.
Well, I think Motzko and Miller, I can hear them at practice saying position, 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 and don't use your stick. Your stick has to be on the ice to be block passing lanes, but it can't be in the body. And your positioning has to be on the right side of the players all the time. And that's one of the things I think they've been getting caught on, is they're on the wrong side and then they use their stick and then they're in the box.
Predictions?
I know, but man.
I saw you wincing. I'm like, that's what he's thinking.
We've been so bad this year, Viggs. I mean, really bad. We've gotten yelled at by Deutsch a couple times.
Oh. You want me to go first?
Go for it.
I mean, I think it's going to be a split.
Oh.
I do. Penn State's just not been consistent enough. You'll see a good game one night. I mean, they lost 7-1 and then came back, win 4-2. And I think Minnesota is the same. Like, Penn State has been a little more consistent, but I don't think Minnesota is going to get swept at home. I just don't see that happening. Like I said, Cal Thomas and anchor back there. You can take a little bit off the pressure off of Luke Middlestat. And those Rombach, was in on that goal. Maybe he's a little more confident. I just think they're gonna win one of the two and get a split.
I'm taking only 1 point for Minnesota right now.
An overtime loss.
Overtime, yes. They got to show me, Viggs. They got to show me something. Right now they'll get their butts kicked one night and then they'll come back and win the next night, and just doesn't change until something changes. I'm not so positive on this team yet, so I'm going to say 1 point on the weekend. Viggs. What do you got?
I think that the big fear for me is that Penn State has their bad game on Friday night and Minnesota somehow gives it away. You know what I mean? I think that's the only way Minnesota gets swept, because I do think Minnesota plays one game well on the weekend. It's just you worry that it could come when the other team has their A game too.
Right.
So I get pretty nervous about Friday's game. I was just looking at the odds. Penn State's a minus 166 favorite. Gophers plus 130 dog. I think that's probably pretty accurate of what I think the Friday night game is going to look like. I think the Gophers do get the split, though. I think they drop Friday. I think they win Saturday. That's kind of been how they've looked this year. It's going to be great hockey, I think. Yep. I think these players are all looking forward to this matchup. I don't think the Gophers are publicly going to say they're looking forward to playing McKenna, but I think they are. There's going to be a lot of scouts in the building. So it should be fun.
How about the fans? How's the tickets going? Do we know?
I don't think tickets are great, and that's probably the most disappointing thing. Is this should be a big series?
Yeah, but people are still bitter. They're down on Penn State. They don't care about Penn State yet.
Football's on the road. They're at Northwestern playing at Wrigley Field, so I can't imagine that's going to be a big draw for people. It's not like the trip that they took out to Cal or USC, where a lot of the Gopher fandom really wanted to take that trip. Maybe some want to go see the game at Wrigley, but I hope it's a good crowd, because it should be, because these are two top teams in college hockey, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing if Minnesota answers the bell. I know Moscow is worried about the team maybe being a little fatigued. He gave them the day off on Tuesday to kind of rest their legs. As at practice today, it was probably one of the lower key practices they've had where there's a lot of teaching going on. So I think he's just trying to pull the reins back just a little bit so that they can go on the weekend.
Look at that smooth transition for you, Cappy. That was
it's not my first rodeo, but it was my first time doing that. Did anyone even notice?
Well, you kind of froze for a second while Viggs was talking. I didn't notice. I was like looking down at Viggs and like, I'm like, also you popped up. I'm like,
I don't know. I'm back.
That's the professional broadcaster there, Viggs.
Oh yeah, that's why they pay me the mediocre bucks. So I missed just a hair of that, but I kind of hit on McKenna a little bit. I'm a little surprised, like, cause you watch some highlights of him, right? I don't know if anyone watched a ton of like a full game of him, right? And seen I think, he's 17 years old. I think he's doing a pretty good job. I think there's a lot left there. I think he's got to work. He's got to be a little tougher in the trenches. And I think that's why he decided to come here, as opposed to staying in the WHL and scoring 160 points and then jumping to the NHL. I think this is exactly why. And I think it's a learning thing. He's not used to getting held scoreless in games, and he's had that a bunch of times. So I'm trying to hold off my full kind of, because there's now people saying he's struggling, that he's not the guaranteed number one pick in the draft, which is kind of wild. But I'm waiting to see, and I mentioned this about going to World Juniors, probably having a really good tournament, and then coming back as kind of like that, not a freshman anymore, for that second half. And by like late January, early February, I have a kind of really good idea of what kind of player he is this year and what he does at that time of season before I really make a full kind of, don't want to make a knee-jerk kind of opinion on his game at this point.
Viggs, I think this is nothing but good for McKenna. I think he's playing against older players. yeah, they might not be those superstar young guys he plays against, get all these, but whatever. I think it's good for McKenna. I think struggling is good for McKenna because it's going to make him a much better player.
Well, I think for any player, struggling before you get to the next level is
Mhm.
probably good for your development because you figure out what you need to work on in your game. Matthew Nyes talked about that at Tri-City. He had a terrible start in the USHL and he just grinded his way through it. He found other ways to make impacts in the game. And just look at the player that arrived on campus with Matthew Nyes. I think it's a benefit to do that. And if McKenna can show the improvement over the season, it's only going to help his draft stock. Because could you imagine him having another 2-point-a-game season in the WHL, getting drafted first overall and having this happen to him in the first 10 games in the NHL?
Right.
That would be brutal.
First whole season. I mean, you're going to be going to, I guess, Calgary or something like that right now, who's not a very good hockey team. And you're not going to have a ton around you. And you're supposed to go in there as a barely 18-year-old and, be the crown jewel. I mean, you guys both hit it perfectly in terms of a little struggle never hurt anybody. You find if you're going to be a real player, because you're like, okay, I need to do other things than just skill it up all the time. And if I don't do that, and I stay this way, I'm not going to get better, and I'm not going to be drafted where I want to be, and I'm not going to be that guy in the NHL. So you're so right. I think it's nothing but good things for him, and it'll test his character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is he still being the same guy he was in September when it was all fun and games? It was, hey, the hype. I'm just one of the guys. Are you still one of just the guys when you're not? Go 3 games without a point, right? And you're not, things aren't going right for you. You still, that's that maturity thing that, look, man, the kid's had the laser on him for 3 years. How is he responding to that? And I think that's another part that people don't talk about. They just talk about the hockey part. How about his mental and his maturity as a person?
You guys got anything else? Are we ready for some overtime here?
Let's get some OT.
Yeah, I think you're right. Biggs, you got anything? Final thoughts for this weekend?
Biggest thing, if you're a fan watching this game, it's going to be fun to isolate on players. Watch one player for a whole shift. Watch McKenna for a whole shift. Watch Mooney for a whole shift. Watch Tanner Ludke for a whole shift. If you're live and in person, that's one of the best ways to watch these players. Is just isolate on them.
I like that.
If you're a Gopher fan, come out. Look, if you're a little upset with the Gophers, you're not going to come and you don't want to come out and see this young player. Just see what he's all about. You can watch him on TV all you want, but like Vig said, is watching him, watching all his little things. I mean, this guy's supposed to be the next number 1 pick. Aren't you curious? Don't you want to see that in person? And how it's not going to be that easy when it comes next year when you maybe comes to town once. And it's going to be a lot more expensive to see it.
Yeah, look on social media. Dickeytown Athletes is partnering with a venture to sell tickets. The revenue gets back into the Dickeytown Athletes program. So it's a great way to find tickets. Sometimes you get parking on there too.
Nice.
Well, thanks for coming on, Cappy. It's always great to have you, man.
You guys give me a little warmed up for once the good stretch of the season comes so I can get the vocals going a little bit more.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, and obviously we'll keep
always a pleasure, guys. Always fun.
And that's going to do it for this episode of the GPL podcast. We'll be back next week for our Thanksgiving episode with the Kinger himself, John King. For those of you watching on YouTube and Twitter, stay tuned for a little bit of overtime. The rest of you will catch you next week on the GPL podcast. If you are watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and get notified each time we go live or post a video. If you listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please rate our show and leave a review. For those of you watching live, you know what's next. It's Vigo's Beverage of the Week. It's time for overtime.
Chocolate.
All right. Yeah, this is Dogfish Brewing here, Utopia Barrel Age Worldwide Stout. It's Utopia season out there right now, so if you're into that kind of thing, really expensive beer, but the Barrel Age Stout, a little more approachable.
It's like a Dr. Pepper.
Does not taste like a Dr. Pepper. It is super rich.
Nice.
It's my first time having this. Utopia is like a specially brewed beer that's like 20%. It's like an ice wine kind of thing. Like it's really high content beer.
Yeah.
And so they age this in barrels with it, and it's really good.
20%. That's like 5 beers in one.
Yeah, I don't think this one's 20% because this is the stout aged in the Utopia barrels.
Right. Half a beer and you'll be a little buzzed.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that the press box will be a little more full this weekend just because of one Gavin McKenna V's.
I mean, I would expect it to be full, but I saw that a lot of scouts were at the Michigan State series. So I wonder if they're going to see him again, the next week to see how he responds, especially after all the media that was out there with comments about his game.
You mean the Michigan series or the Michigan State at Michigan State series?
At Michigan State.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So
I would think they're going to be watching him a ton. Look, man, this is pretty important draft. If you're going to have that pick, like you want to see him day to day, like week to week, I would think.
How about sending Rick Pizzo out to Hockey Valley?
I mean,
wow.
And I guess the ratings were not great, but I don't know if they didn't hype it up enough. They didn't, get it. If you're going to do that, I feel like you got to give it a little more publicity, right?
Well, you didn't even know about it really. We were like telling you, we're looking at the schedule. We're looking at the schedule like, okay, something looks weird here because of the timing of games. It looks like it's going to be on TV, and then schedule.
Well, that was a month before, right?
It was before. It was within 2 weeks.
That whole week should have been built up, right? I think a little more. Social media and stuff like that. Look, they've got football, of course, drives the train. Yes. But if you're going to invest in sending and have a pregame show and everything, because it's a build up for the season, right? It's a build up for the rest of the season down the road, and probably didn't go, and then they lose, right? But Clarkson's turning out to be not a too bad of a team, right? So it's just funny how that works. And another team that's going to get those Quebec League players, OHL guys that are 20, 21s. Why wouldn't they? They're going to be. College hockey is going to be really hard. Like number 60 can beat number 2 in a couple of years, I think.
Well, I think it's going to require more of the American players to come in at 19.
Sure.
Rather than always, you have so many that want to come in at 18.
Yeah.
But like Maceo Phillips and Kwasnika going and playing that extra year post-national program.
Yeah.
I think that's going to become the routine for anybody who's not a first-round pick.
Yeah.
And maybe if you're a late first-round pick. Like Strammel probably should have played another year somewhere before going to Wisconsin.
Yeah, he was really young. Yeah.
Yeah.
And look at him. I mean, he's a 21-year-old senior, and he's an old man, but he's 21.
Right.
Like and what, say what you want. I mean, is he going to sign with Minnesota? Who knows? But I think he's put himself now in a spot where he's kind of found his game, where I think he's an NHL player, which 2 years ago, you're like, or even a year, early before last year, you're like, So good for him. Everyone goes at a different pace in terms of their development. It's not a linear line of, come here, do this, come do this, and you're in. It just doesn't work that way for everybody.
But you rarely stay too late,
I don't know.
Yeah. I think
name some guys. I don't know.
I think McKenna would have stayed too long in the WHL if he'd stuck around for another year. But
and he would have had to, though. But he would have had to if 3 years ago. If this was Connor Bedard would have played college hockey right now. If it was him, if this was done 3 years ago or whatever. So, what's going to happen?
Minnesota had a number 1 draft pick play for them.
Eric Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I recall.
They
passed on Johnson.
Not a super great draft. I'm not sure if it was the right
Jonathan
pick,
Taves went number 2 or number 3?
Yeah, something like that. But Eric Johnson was the number 1 pick and came to Minnesota and played a season. So
yeah, has had a long, great career. I don't know if he lived up to being a number 1 pick, but whatever that
Probably
means.
not.
But he played 20 years almost.
Yeah, he had a long career. He just retired.
Great career, Stanley Cup.
Just retired.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he's doing some media, isn't he?
I think he is. Stuff. ESPN or NHL Network.
Yeah, I think ESPN. TJ Oshie's on ESPN now.
Mm-hmm. They love those Minnesota guys.
It looks like I might be doing ESPN for the tournament this year. For both. So I'm excited. Also, I love doing the games though for like 3 years. The studio is pretty cool because you got a bunch of games going on.
True.
I'm never gonna complain about working, but it was really fun. Like being in Sioux Falls that year, and you guys played BU. But yeah, it looks like at least as of right now, I think I'll be doing, and right now maybe going to Vegas. There's rumor we could go and do the studio there. Why? If you're gonna do that anywhere,
yep.
So
you're right.
It would be pretty cool if that works out.
But. And you're right though. You were calling the games in Sioux Falls, and it's like Viggs and we've talked about a lot. It's about seeing people you don't see all the time, and
totally.
and I can see where it's nice and convenient to be in a studio, but you're not mingling with your people really.
Yeah, and look, I got to go to Bristol, Connecticut, and be on ESPN campus for the first time. Now I've gotten to go there twice. It's pretty cool. There's nothing else there, but when you're there, it's kind of cool. Yeah. I mean, like on campus, it's like a small university essentially now.
Okay.
So that was definitely, is being a guy that's wanting to broadcast to actually get to go and live the like ESPN life a little bit, kind of
living the dream, aren't you?
Well, I kind of feel like guys like our era, our age, like ESPN, like was just it.
Dan
like
Patrick,
the Big Show, all the stuff, all the bits.
Dan Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like ESPN was much bigger then to us. I mean, it's big now.
It's just a different kind of media now, right?
Yep.
It's cool that you can get all that stuff. Like now you can go on ESPN Plus and you're watching college. I was watching BU Quinnipiac last week. That's pretty cool. But yeah, it's for 20 years ago, ESPN like Sports Center was just
every night. Every night you get back to college and you just be like, oh, let's watch Sports Center for like 2 hours.
You had to. You couldn't.
What are the top 10 plays?
Right, you weren't going to like a YouTube to stream like highlights and stuff.
Just sit on your phone and look at Twitter and be like, "Oh, everyone's posting these goals." Like you know what I mean? So you know what? Hey, it's a different era, but
and every once in a while you get some college hockey love. Obviously, it's different with Bucci. Bucci would do a lot more, but once in a while, even in the old days, you'd get a college hockey highlight on ESPN.
It would be a Gopher one usually because you guys were the only ones on TV.
When it was number 1 versus number 2, mid-90s, CC in Minnesota. And
Sure.
You know, that big Crowley goal when he kicked it off a skate and backhanded it above the goalie and Minnesota won. That was on ESPN that night. This is probably 93, 94-ish, somewhere in there.
Nice.
And I'm like, I just saw a Gopher highlight on ESPN 30 years ago.
It's funny you bring that up. It's funny you bring up an old Gopher highlight. So I play men's league with Ryan Flynn. He's on my men's league team.
Okay.
And the next day after we played Sunday morning. I think Sunday night or Monday morning or late Sunday night. I'm watching video, and then the next one pops up, and it's an old North Dakota, Minnesota game from like 2012, and the game ends like 1-1, and there's this huge fight at the end, and it's him and Zajac and these guys. Wheeler was out there, and I see him, and he's in this scrap, and I just immediately forwarded it to this text group with 3 of our guys on the team, and I'm like, oh, this is what Ryan Flynn used to be, skinny and fast and angry. Now he's just this big lump of coal that can still score goals like crazy. But it was just funny to see him. I mean, he was in the fight, right? It was right at the end of it, like a 1-1 tie game or something. And it was just hilarious. But it all of a sudden, like an old,
Uh-oh. Look at that.
There you are. Where'd we go?
Well,
Where'd
you go,
that
man?
Was you guys. That wasn't me.
We did
I don't know.
nothing.
Everything went. You didn't? Okay. All 3 went black for a second. I don't know what happened.
You're still black.
I got power on my phone, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think.
Scary times in the Cappy household.
Mr.
Dude.
Bulldog himself, Viggs.
I don't know what's going on.
He thinks the Gophers should feel good against Penn State.
I think Penn State's a good matchup because they've been so inconsistent this season. So that could be good. And I think the Gophers, they have like the number 3 strength of schedule in college hockey. So they've been tested. So
Your video's not showing at all, but Cappy, by the way.
Of me, of us?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't
We see a black. I mean, I'm seeing a black screen. Are you, Viggs?
black for yeah. Oh,
There
now
you
we're
go.
back. No,
There you go. There we go. What the?
Okay.
It's almost like we heard a gunshot too.
It was.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Nothing has happened here. I've
We're
just
like,
been
what's
sitting here
going
whole
on in the
time.
Chicago hood there? I'm like,
No, I have not moved. I haven't done anything. My phone is sitting on my iPad, because it's in the spot. Dude,
something weird. It was pretty weird, wasn't it, Viggs? Because
I was worried.
I'm glad it happened in unrecorded overtime.
Oh, people see it though.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, whatever. I just think I think a lot of people thought they were just going to see Penn State and they're going to just be this, high rolling, run and gun team, and things are going to go so smooth for them. And it's just not that easy. And I don't know if they thought it would be that way. I don't think they did, but it just hasn't looked, even when they're winning, like that game they beat Michigan last week, they had to win that kind of ugly. And they didn't get scoring from their top guys. Like Nick Fascia scored his first goal, I think, as a Nittany Lion. And so their big guys didn't score. I think McKenna got an assist on the empty netter. But it's weird to say it. I mean, they're top 5 and they've got good wins. They swept Ohio State. But it's just not looking the way I think a lot of people thought it would look. Like they just thought they'd had so many offensive weapons this year. And obviously they're missing Aiden Fink too right now, which is a big loss for probably till, January or February. But it's good. I like the Gophers. I really think they're going to at least win one game. And maybe I'm just being a little, it's funny how the shoe's on the other foot right now, how the Gophers are the underdog. I don't know if I recall that happening too much in the 12 years of Big Ten hockey.
I mean, the Gophers is a home dog. I mean, I wish I had a history of Vegas odds. Happens
in the Big Ten for Big Ten games. How many times that happened? Maybe a couple times against Michigan. Maybe.
Yeah. I don't even know that. I mean,
Wisconsin, maybe against Wisconsin that won Caulfield year. Maybe.
But like the Gophers had good teams back then.
Yeah.
No, probably back to Motzko's first year, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm a bad hockey analyst, but I saw that Godowski shuffled the lines after the Michigan State series because he had been playing those Serrato, DeMarco, Weebush together. And it looked like he split them all up for Michigan. Did you notice that watching that series at all?
Well, I saw. I mean, the one goal they scored on Saturday was a line. Their line was together, and it was the defenseman that scored the goal.
Okay.
I'm assuming that they were to split up, but then they lose 7-1 on Friday. So maybe you go back to the well there. I think it's not I don't know. I mean, you lose a game like that at home. Yeah, Michigan's really good. But I think you got to go with what got you there in the past a little bit. So I think they're back. I wouldn't be surprised they're together. I think McKenna got moved around. He's been with that Misa, another young freshman.
Yeah, smart ass.
They got some other guys. That Van Holm guy led the WHL in goals last year with like 50 some. I mean, like they've got some of these young guys that, like Minnesota, haven't really done much yet. That if they kind of come into what they thought, I mean, it could get scary as an offense. I just don't think they found their legs yet that way.
I also think it speaks to the craziness of college hockey this year.
1,000%.
It has been all over.
Michigan
Dartmouth,
State's really been the one team
yeah,
that you can say exactly what you're getting. They're not scoring a ton of goals, but they don't give up anything. Like they only beat Notre Dame 4-1, 3-1, and I think they had empty netters in both. But they've got the talent to it. They're just not scoring a ton.
How much is Augustine involved in a lot of that? Is he playing super well? I haven't really watched him.
He's not getting challenged a ton.
Okay,
he's making defense, the saves. Then. He's making the saves, but he's not getting 35 a game. Mm-hmm. He's not making 34 saves. He's making 20, 22. They got a nice team. I mean, that Riker lead. Did you guys watch that play?
Oh my God! The flip up and the knockdown.
Who the hell tries doing that and literally makes it successful? I don't know if that got SportsCenter top 10. Maybe it didn't just because he didn't score.
Right.
But it didn't even need to. Like, that was getting blown up all over. He made that defenseman, Master Domenico, poor guy. But how can you blame him? No one's ever tried that before and made it look so easy. That slow motion shot was incredible. Like, Peacock is just the best stream. It is so not even close. Self-promotion. I will be calling the Notre Dame, Wisconsin on December 6th on Peacock. So that'll be fun to be back in there for a game. But their stream is incredible. And it's
so good.
Oh my God, that play as they showed him go. I mean, NHL guys aren't doing that. Now he's a first round pick and he's probably going to be an NHLer, but I've never seen someone do that in a game and make it work exactly how he planned it. It was crazy.
I saw him at the summer showcase and I didn't know much about him. I instantly started reading about him and just his skill development. And he is totally one of those skill players that has just spent the time in the workshop to develop all the stick skills, develop his body and just make himself a hockey player. And just the creativity and the skill that he has is just something to watch.
Right.
And, he was a tiny player, right? When he was Bantam,
right?
And he's just grown.
Yeah. And I think that's key because, yes. And I love how guys do, the stick skills are important and the individual stuff is, but if you can't play hockey in a team way, you're not going to make it. It doesn't seem like he's like that. But there are a lot of kids out there that they spend so much time with their one-on-one coaches and doing your one-on-one stuff. And you should do that stuff. But if you don't have the mental capacity to play team hockey, you're not going to, I don't care how good a stick handle you are not going to make it. But Riker Lee clearly knows what he's doing. And that's not his only thing. But that just was insane what he did last weekend.
Yeah, he looked really good at the showcase and impressed. Oh, late bloomer physically.
And he's still a first round pick.
Yep. He bloomed at the right time.
Yeah. No, good for him. That was Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen at Notre Dame. Not to get on that. I think Brock's going to be a good coach. I just don't know. Like their best players haven't been, Cole Knuble. Like, I mean, what did he stick out at all to you 2 weekends ago?
He and Nelson looked hard against Minnesota.
Okay.
They usually play Minnesota really well.
Not getting the results.
Not getting results. Not getting enough consistency. That's a team where it used to be really hard to get the momentum back from them.
Sure.
And this year it's not.
There's not.
Like,
Yeah, I think
they
this
don't
is a
connect enough.
transition year, right? This is a transition. They're not going to play Jeff Jackson style, or they don't want to, right?
Right.
But they don't have the roster to probably do it the way he wants to do it. I imagine so. It will come. I mean, that Mazzotti kid's pretty good. Big boy.
Yeah.
Also, isn't a certain Edina player going there too, Viggs?
I think I remember hearing that. Recruit loss, right?
Yeah. He's also in the state championship as a quarterback too.
He's going to Michigan State.
He's going to Michigan State.
Is he going to Michigan
He's going to the Chicago
My mistake.
Blackhawks.
My mistake, yes.
What's West? Owen? Is that Owen?
Mason West.
Mason
West.
West.
Sorry,
That's
Mason
what it
West.
is. My
The
mistake.
most amazing thing about that is they're in the state championship game.
Mhm.
Right. He's tomorrow, Friday night.
Yeah.
Friday night.
And like
And then a
Edina's
week
not.
later, he'll be playing for the Fargo Force.
Well, there's a rumor that he might go back to high school
Oh yeah.
instead of going to the USHL.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
We'll see.
Why would he do that?
Because he's having so much fun winning a state championship in football. Why not do it again in hockey?
Oh, okay. Like just
You
'cause
know,
of that.
It is.
Just because of that.
It is still sort of a sacred thing here.
No, I mean, my sister knows very little about hockey, right? I mean, she knows about hockey from me playing and all this.
I was gonna say, I hope she knows something.
But she does, but she doesn't know like the states. I mean, that much. She knows Minnesota's got good hockey, but she was talking to a parent, and my nephew is 9, playing squirt whatever in Chicago area, and this is her first year of paying money, like. And he's not playing AAA, he's playing AA, but it's still insane. And he was talking about to a Minnesota parent about how much they pay and how little they pay and how the season's shorter. And she's like, man, I'm gonna move to Minnesota and raise my son there if he wants to play hockey, because I don't think I can afford this for the next 10 years if he wants to play youth hockey in the Chicago
Hockey's
area.
expensive enough as it is,
Right?
and to pay to play.
And then if you get to AAA, like AAA now is a college tuition.
Are you serious?
Well, Little Caesars and
if you're paying
Honey Baked and
then if you, a lot of these now in the Chicago area have those you don't even go to school anymore. You go to they're like your school is hockey. Like you go to school while you're at the rink all day, or they have classrooms it's like
Gentry.
They're like, what's that?
Well, we have one of those that's called Gentry Academy and Breakaway Academy in Minnesota, where it's basically it's 8 to 12 school and then 12 to 5 win time. Like you get to do whatever you want.
Well, these kids go to school, like they have a teacher that it's in the rink. And then they can go on the ice for their personal stuff, and then they go do school some more, and then they have their regular practice at night with the team. So that's separate. So you're paying for the school part, and then you're paying for the AAA program part, and you're probably paying over $20,000.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that's probably without travel.
Yeah, but then you have parents like the Luciuses who can afford to create a school like that. And how is he doing at Arizona? He's not doing too bad down there, is he?
I mean, point wise, he's doing okay. I think Arizona State's dropped out of the top 20 for most people.
They're kind of underperform. I don't know if they're underperforming or. Look, man, I like that coach has done a pretty good job, I think, to get him to this point. But if they were super serious, I think if they could find someone that had a little more of a like a Brock Shan or something like that take them kind of to that next level from the coaching side, because I think they're getting the players.
Mm-hmm.
Cullen Potter's another first round guy, right? He's been okay. But It's you're kind of out on an island over there, right? In this beautiful place. Maybe some distractions. I think there's a lot. I'm being dead serious. I'm imagining myself playing there, and that would have been.
Spectacular.
You need some direct. I would have gone there in a second. Are you kidding me? That would have been. I wasn't an.
It would have been way better than
I wasn't an
Quinnipiac.
NHL prospect. I was a 20. I was overaged freshman. Like, how go play? Oh my god! I mean, it's amazing out there. Brand new rink. They're packed. Like, beautiful campus. I mean, they got everything there you want. I just think if they want to go to that elite level, I mean, nothing against Coach Powers. He's done a great job, but he kind of, fell into that one a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Anyway, why are we talking about that?
Why not? It's overtime. we do what we want.
So wait,
was Teddy crazy?
Townsend, was that his first games this weekend for Townsend?
Oh, it wasn't last weekend, I think.
He played against Notre Dame?
He did play against Notre Dame.
Played against Notre Dame.
Yep.
So he had an injury to start the year, though.
He had an injury he picked up during camp.
Okay, that's what I thought or assumed.
Non-hockey injury.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
kind of like this guy the Florida Panther guy that just burned his hand on the grill and he's out week to week now.
Not quite.
Yeah, no. I'm not gonna. Either way, I liked his game last year, and I thought this guy could be an impactful freshman when I saw him play. That's all I don't get to see a lot of those guys in person playing in juniors. And I just thought, he's a nice player. I think
I know you keep asking about him. So I was like, what do you know about this kid?
Well, I didn't.
Well, sort of non-hockey kind of.
Well, I mean, I saw Finn McLaughlin too, and I thought he was really good. And I thought he might I thought that was a great, get when Denver released him, right? And I'm not saying he's not doing well, but I think he's got he could be a 4-year guy that could be, impactful as the years go on.
Well, and I think Motzko needs 4-year guys right now.
Sure.
Like he needs guys to stick around. And I think that's part of why he didn't go in the CHL, because of how he got burned with these Minnesota kids leaving early. It's like Renzel got benched the other night. Moore got benched the other night. Snuggerud's the only one playing every night in the NHL.
Yeah.
But he also played 3 years too.
Well, I know, I agree, but I'm just saying, like, he got burned pretty bad, I think, on this.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to know, though. I mean, those guys probably thought they were going to be 3-year players, and they got talked out of being them. Or I think Renzel, I think everyone thought by Christmas last year, though, the way he kind of had a half foot out the door.
Well, I think he stopped listening to the coaching too, and they just knew.
Just listening to other people.
He's listening to the Blackhawks coaching.
Yeah, this is what you need to do to get. And now he started his NHL career off really nicely, but he never played a game in the AHL, I don't believe, or maybe a few. And
not yet.
I think that's something that's kind of caught up to him, because even Levshunov played a half a year in the AHL, and Nazar played in the AHL. And look, those guys have kind of now, Levshunov's kind of taken Renzel's spot a little bit on that first power play and getting the top time unit. So it might be something for him to go down there for a little bit, get a little humble pie. He loves to slow the game down, right? And I think he slowed it down just a little too much. And they got to try to fix it, because I don't think they want to lose him. I think they see him as one of their guys for the next 10 to 12 years or whatever.
I don't know. The Bigs, I'm gonna wear all white Friday night.
Nice. I'll have FS1 on
yeah.
Form of
look
fact.
for me in between the box wearing a white shirt and white pants. It's all white out.
Ooh.
I remember I was joking to Micheletti that he should wear like an all-white suit for a whiteout.
That would be so good.
With like a white tie too,
Nice.
just like
Nice.
total mafioso.
Nice.
I just want to have fun with it. I mean,
You guys throwing a little shade at Penn State? Is that why we were doing the whiteout?
I don't know. It's universities. I wore an all white shirt last time, but now I'm just gonna accentuate it with some white pants, I think.
Nice.
I do
And-
think it's
That's
weird
another
that they
reason
picked
why
a
you gotta
whiteout.
fill. It's another reason why you got to fill the seats in a whiteout, man. It won't look good if there's a lot of maroon.
Well, they'll cover all the seats probably with those little towel things, like you're right behind you there, Viggs.
Right. They'll lay them on like the back of the seat or whatever, but it's still, you want.
It's still gonna be, and I guarantee people will grab extra towels too. So
And the white hair.
That's
It's gonna be
true.
all white.
Oh
they
man,
need to oversell the stadium as much as
I'm gonna
want
if I can get in the photo box, I'm afraid it's gonna be pretty busy this weekend. There'll be a lot of photographers there. I mean,
maybe, who knows?
the photographers will come out in droves. So we'll have like 10 of them. It'll be ridiculous.
You're gonna get a scrap with some Canadian photographer, huh?
Well, no, I mean, I'll get a fairly good choice, but I'd like to get in the box one period. And
Oh yeah, that's the best.
people
stuff.
need. I mean, I'm white enough as it is, but you add a all white shirt and all white pants, and
The Colonel.
I don't have the beard. I don't have the beard going anymore.
Oh man,
Go.
the
Man,
beard,
that
the
would have been good.
whisker, and
All
the
white with the white
mustache.
whiskers.
The mustache, the curly.
It would take me like 6 months to
I'm
grow.
sure you
it.
could find one at the store. Raleigh fingers mustache going.
You can
Live a
grow that in
little, will
week.
ya?
Yeah.
Grow that in a week, yeah.
Oh, Matt Zuccarello just did a little top cheddar or
Dipsy
start
do.
third period 3-1.
I can't believe he's 38.
Dude, he's a stud.
God, still got it.
Oh, the twisted wrister.
And he's tiny.
Top shelf. Ramona
And he's not
keeps
fast.
the Buffalo Trace.
He's just so smart and slick.
He can slow the game down.
Oh yeah, look at that, just a nice little play, and then he does this little flip. I don't even know if he shot it. He flipped it over the goalie's glove. Just a little flip.
Reading the game.
What's that?
He's reading the game.
Oh man, and just a little stick play. Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
I mean, how good has Matthew Wood been too? Like that's a guy who
He's
reads
got
the game.
7 goals or so. He had a hat trick.
Yeah, he had a hat trick the other day.
And I don't know if he took a stride on any of them. He's like that guy that just finds the spot or sticks his stick out, but he's big and
he can read the space and manipulate it. Like
Good
he's
for
just
him.
good at that.
And all you need is a chance, right? He got his chance, and now he's scoring, so you assume he's going to get more chances.
All I did was play an audio file and I got kicked out.
What happened?
Oh, is that what happened?
I played an audio file and I just had my mouse just below it. And for some reason, all of a sudden I got booted out.
Wow.
Damn software.
So Viggs is the only guy that survived the whole.
The whole
Well,
night
I do.
so far.
I do it all the time. I click something and I get kicked
Oh,
out.
okay.
Once in a while, and that's fine. But
I just sit here and I drink and I know things.
It's I haven't seen Denver play. Like they've been up and down, right? This year, they've been more right lately.
They've kind of had that like gopher history where they outshoot a team like 40 to 20 and lose.
Yeah,
Like, that's how they've lost their games.
yeah.
And so that's why I still have them
Sure.
ranked where I do. Because like if you look at the expected goals for Denver games, like they should be undefeated.
Right.
But, they don't finish or they don't execute.
They don't have
Run
as
into a big
many.
goalie.
They've lost a lot of good forwards kind of over the
Mhm.
years, and they've got the defense is really helping them out with Polkamp and Buckberger and those guys. They've got some nice offensive guys. Their goalie? I would have no idea who their goaltender is.
I don't know either.
I just still have, and like I said, what were your? I guess now we can have. What are your the Michigan thing? 2-6.
I guess I probably just don't like the way they played Wisconsin and then no punishment. And there's probably some vengeance in my voting there. Because it's just
Get it.
I just don't respect that when a program behaves that way.
It's
and the way they're so arrogant about all that stuff, it's just
I don't get it.
I don't think I'll ever get into it with a coach, but
no.
Dorado is like a guy who's just like so flippant about how they run things. It's just
I don't get that part because like when they're focused and playing, dude, I don't know
They're
how you
good.
lose because they have a goalie
Right.
now, right?
Yeah,
Now they
Mhm.
lost Muse, who's a really good defenseman, but still they've got that Robertson has been unbelievable. I mean, Luca, like they've got depth and all that. I just don't understand why. Okay, it was you're getting spanked at home, so I guess you're going to be a little. That's not the first time nor the last time a team will start acting like idiots. when
We
they're
saw it
down
last year. We
by
saw it
5
last year at
goals.
Mariucci.
But if you're like a top 5 team, why do you do that?
I don't
Like
know.
And why risk getting a player suspended? Which there
Which
should have been some
happened.
suspension.
They should have been suspended. They should have not gotten
Draper
the chance
should
to
have been
play.
suspended. That was so bad.
Right.
I thought. I mean,
Yes.
look, man. I'm an Ohio State guy. I hate Michigan. Blah blah blah. Maybe not. And hockey is not like football for me. Like I enjoy watching good teams play hockey. Say what you want. Like when
Yeah.
they play, like Minnesota, man. When they've had these great teams, I love watching good teams play at their peak. And like when they play their best, I like that was I'd love to see a Michigan State game like that come 2 weeks from now. But I fear that you're gonna, it goes a little sideways, and then it's gonna look ugly, and it's not gonna look as great as it should be as a showcase to whoever will tune into the Big Ten Network on Friday night for that game. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope it stays clean. But I mean, that rivalry is, pretty bad. And it's like a North Dakota, Minnesota at their peak. Like, I'm sure that it's hard to not get chippy, right?
Yeah.
All it takes is a couple little hits and then it just snowballs. So we'll see. But
I just think a Red Berenson team would never even dip their toes
No.
in that kind of behavior. It would just be
No.
done. Like
No.
that it wouldn't happen.
It never did, in that I can think of. I can't think of it happening at all ever. Yeah, I don't know.
Like the Michigan man meant something when Red was the coach.
Yeah.
And now it's just like a joke to me. And
Mm.
I've had people come up to me in the last couple of weeks, like, what's your deal with Michigan? It's just like, I'm tired of seeing this double standard. Like I've seen the football cheating stuff happen and the way Michigan people react.
Yeah.
I see people in the stands behaving the way Michigan fans behave. And it's just like, that's another thing. And then you see their players on the ice behave this way. And it's just like, what is this double standard thing that you have that you do no wrong and everyone's out to get you?
Yeah.
Like the Mel
it's a little
Pearson stuff, like when he left.
I just was
The
never
Pearson stuff was weird.
I just never thought it was like you're down 5 or 6-1. Yeah, it sucks, but like I never thought like, okay, I'm just gonna go out there. And now I wasn't a guy like that in general, but like I'm not just gonna go out there and start running guys from behind and like getting my stick up in faces. It's just weird to do that. I don't know.
I think it's even weirder to do it on a Saturday night. You might do a little of that on a Friday night, getting your butt kicked. Hey, just get people thinking about tomorrow. But there was none of that. Did we see that from Wisconsin where they got their butt kicked the night before?
I mean, I think they'll either figure it out enough, and they'll go to a Frozen Four with a chance to win a national championship, or it'll be the thing that bites them in the ass in a regional or something, the discipline, and they'll be out in the first game.
And back to your point about like dipping in the CHL, getting all these first round type guys to your roster like Michigan State's done.
Yeah.
It's just been the tendency in college hockey that has not worked for winning a title.
Sure.
It could just be coincidence, but like Schlossman always says, like one of the last teams to win a title with a number 1 pick was Besser with North Dakota.
Like 20.
That's a long time.
2011.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Minnesota should have probably won in Tampa, but guess what? Cooley takes a dumb penalty. Snuggerud doesn't finish on a couple 2-on-1s, and they lose the game.
Oof.
You can say all you want about the team taking their foot off the gas. Players on the ice still get to execute.
Yeah.
Like if they handle breaking the puck out and they finish on those 2-on-1s, the game's over.
Man.
But they don't, because they're young and they're inexperienced. And it's gonna, as Bob always like say, everyone's gonna take that to their grave from that team.
I
That's
think
true.
I think Michigan State team does have a little good mixture right now. And then obviously with Augustine coming back as a junior, that
That
and
helps
you got
a ton.
Stramel, Russell, Basgall, thinking of a few other defensemen. That Ralph kid's pretty good, huh? That big guy from St. Cloud. That was a pretty good get as a transfer.
I think Minnesota was after him too.
Oh, I bet. I would imagine so. Who's the other defenseman? I'm thinking the tall Sturback is a really good defenseman. He was a second round pick, I think. I just think they look the best. Like I watching that BU series, and then I've seen they just look like the team that maybe you're least worried about will have that bad game at this point that the teams I've watched, and all it takes, right, is that one bad game or one bad period and you're out of
one bad 5 minutes. Right? It can be 5 minutes like Minnesota against Union. Bad 5 minutes and that was the game.
Or 7 minutes against Quinnipiac, or whatever you want to call that, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. They've struggled, Augustine, that's when he struggled, right, in the NCAA tournament. That's where the only time he's really struggled in college is those games. So I think the Buckeyes are pretty good. They went to Cole and were a stupid penalty away from sweeping them, on the road. The league's in pretty good shape. Again, Gophers, we'll see. I'm looking forward to kind of watching a longer stint of their game to see, getting more opinions on them. And I think Bob's got to really coach this year, and I kind of like that. And I want to. And Killer's a great coach, man. The PK stuff, man, that is bread and butter stuff type for him. So.
Cappy's all over the place.
Cappy, we lost you a couple times there. You're black again. That's why you see bye, Cappy.
Your mic is super loud.
Yeah, your mic got super loud. You did something.
Muted? Unmuted?
Well, I did that. I'm trying to mess with it a little bit. There you are. There you're back again.
Back.
What are you doing?
Now we can hear you, I think.
Yeah, he's straight now.
Huh.
Okay. Sound is pretty loud again still, but can you hear us?
I don't think so. Can't hear us. I don't know. Cappy just wants to focus in on this.
I can't hear you guys now. What's going on?
We can hear you.
Nothing's changed here either. Can you guys hear me?
No, hold on.
You were good. Can't hear us.
You leave, come back.
Hold on.
Let's give him the
iPad's charged now. The iPad is probably charged if he plugged it back in, or maybe it's earbuds. There was one time in postgame where I was listening to the postgame show with my earbuds in, and then when I went to record Motzko and the audio, I didn't put the earbuds all the way back in the AirPod case, and so when I went to record, it was still trying to record from my AirPods, and my phone didn't know what to do. So I got no audio. So I had to go, hey, Jess, can you share some audio with me? Because I've done that for you before.
Tell him to leave and come back. See if he gets that message or not.
Probably not, because he's on his phone. You can kick him out.
Let's kick him.
You can do that, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I just did.
Yep.
That's always fun.
You got 86th. Maybe we'll come back. Maybe not. We'll see.
Okay, so I see Mariucci Maniacs. So, okay, but Mariucci Maniacs was watching the live feed last night, Viggs, waiting for us to start on Tuesday night.
Sorry about that.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah. I
don't
know what happened.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, we changed up the day, but it was funny. Mariucci Maniacs, it was about 9:12, 9:15 last night. He's like, I'm sitting there watching the stream, waiting for you to go live. Oh boy! Vig's making mistakes.
That's just a little taste. I got a little tiny glass here. So my stag barrel came in earlier this month, as people maybe
Wait,
noticed.
hold on. We got you full screen here. There we go.
Yeah, stag barrel, fancy bourbon, Cappy.
Nice.
I got to go down to Buffalo Trace this spring and pick 2 barrels, and they finally came
that were
in.
fully underwater, we believe too, right?
No, but it did flood there like the month before I went.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of 50-50 whether they were going to let us come pick the barrel because of the flooding. And they lost like
it was bad.
Stuff.
It was
really bad. Like you could see around, like they have all these like storehouses around their campus, and you could see them like 7 feet, 8 above the doors, like floodwaters. So pretty serious, but yeah.
Wow.
If you follow me on social media, you probably saw that 1010 Washington released it on Saturday. They had probably like 100 bottles of stag to sell,
and
they sold out in 28 minutes.
Oh, shit.
If they opened at 9, if you were in line by 8:30, I think you got one. But if you showed up after that, you didn't.
How much is a bottle at?
$75.
Oh, that'll warm me up.
It's 130
Proof?
Hey, I like just the regular Buffalo Trace itself.
131 proof.
Ooh, man.
Yeah, that'll fire up the
stay away from
chest.
stay away the stogies on that one. You could light yourself on fire.
No ice in that needed.
Yeah.
I'll bring you some to Vegas maybe if I get there.
Dude, that'd be so is there a way you get there one way or another or what?
I mean, I'd like to go.
Does it have to be the Gophers or no?
No. Doesn't have to be the Gophers.
I was at that arena in November last year. It's pretty cool. It's it's got the little loudness to it or whatever you want to call it.
I have heard that it's very loud.
Yeah.
And it's not the fans, it's just the music, and boom, boom.
It's obnoxiously loud. But it fits there, right?
Yeah, it does.
And
it does.
But I was there actually. It was a Sunday night, like 5:00 game for local time, so it was a little subdued, kind of. If there was ever to be a night, but they were playing the Caps, and Ovi had a Hattie, and this was on his run. I think he had a Hattie that night. Then the next night, or a couple nights later, is when he scored, and then he got hurt, broke his leg last fall, or he would have broke that record earlier. But that was pretty cool to be there for that game to see him, score a hat trick en route to breaking the record. But yeah, and it's a great surrounding area too. Like there's an outdoor area. Like I was picturing it for like Frozen 4 festivities and whatnot on the strip there. Probably be a pretty good time.
And the Park MGM that's right there is like the only smoke-free hotel casino.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot.
I know.
It's all right there. It's all right there, right? Like there's, you're right down in the mix of all the places. So, yeah, I hope I get to go there. That'd be great.
I'd like to go there, play a little poker tournament, get a nice meal.
And then you get to go watch college hockey.
Watch
in
hockey.
Vegas.
Yeah.
Like, did you go to when they played North Dakota?
Wasn't at that arena though.
Right, a little different, but still.
The Orleans. Yeah, I didn't go to that one. I think I get in the midst of coaching my youth teams, and it's hard to just justify it. So
yeah, played many games at that Orleans rink in the East Coast Hockey League.
Really? I'm using my ice hockey systems that Topher puts together, and I'm really into it.
Back when they were the Vegas Wranglers in the East Coast Hockey League.
Vegas Wranglers.
Yeah, they're a good team, and they filled that place. It was a great. I mean, for East Coast League, it was terrific. But yeah. Oh, Topher, my guy. I haven't seen him this year yet. I don't know if he's playing men's league or not.
He's busy. He's doing all the website stuff. They bought the Belfry Hockey.
Good for him, man.
Inventory and
Grow your thing, man. The one thing I will say is like, man, I'm not a big guy, right? I'm about 5'10" at most. He is tiny to me. Like he's like 5'6".
Yeah.
Like I and then I played against him a little bit out, in men's league, and he's a little shifty guy out there, little skill guy. But he's little, like probably LJ little.
Yeah, LJ little, and then he pairs up with Lavecchio, who's like kind of a giant, right?
Yeah, I think so. Fitness
it's kind
guy,
of a funny,
right?
Fitness guy. It's kind of a funny partnership that they have.
Funny little
between
mix.
the two of them. Yeah.
Sure.
You have the big guy who like didn't pay attention to his strength and conditioning, and you got Topher who just like thrived to make it.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a good combo, and they're entertaining. Like they're pretty entertaining, and I think he's pretty passionate about what he does.
Yeah.
And it's a good business. I mean, hockey's it's insane what parents will pay to, get any little edge to their kid or whatnot. It stresses me out thinking about how much people pay to play hockey as a youth level now.
They just had a guy on, Josh Levine, who's doing this Fortis Academy. Mm-hmm. And so they dabble in like the high end stuff, but he was kind of sharing, he's like, that can kind of work and can kind of get you going, but really like you got to scale it up and serve everybody to like make it be like really successful. And so he's like trying to rebuild this Richfield Spartans program. It's like a south of Minneapolis suburb. It's like a first ring suburb that lost its population of hockey players. And so they're trying to build it back. And he's just got really good ideas on like, how to make hockey affordable, how to make it convenient, how to make it fun, how to make it competitive, how to have like retention be the focus.
Yeah.
And just really good stuff.
Yeah. This is where a Darby Hendrickson came from. Damian Rhodes, goaltender. Did he play in the NHL? I think he did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Toronto.
Gosh, I remember watching Darby. I don't think he ever made it to a state tournament because he had to go through Edina or something, Minnetonka or something like that.
But Rhodes, I think, made it. Rhodes made it to a tournament, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think he made it. Yeah.
One of those years, I think they did stick it. I'm not sure if it was a Darby year or if it was Dan. I'm not sure.
I didn't realize he was a Minnesota guy, Damian Rhodes.
But I just think some of the stuff they talk about, like community model, like not splitting up elite teams at 10. Why do we do that? It's for the parents and, the kids who are good at 10. It's just not good for the game. Like East Grand Forks, this high school up north, they got really involved in their youth program, and they don't even really do a travel team until after January 1st of Squirts, because what are we doing? These are like fourth and fifth graders. Why are we driving them to Moorhead and Duluth and Grand Rapids and Roseau to play games? They should just be going to their local rink and getting home before 8 o'clock so they can sleep 10 hours,
That's long gone.
It's sad.
Yeah.
But East Grand Forks pulled back from all that, and they won the Class A title last year in Minnesota with this model in mind, where they basically play in-house hockey through January 1st of Squirts. And then after January 1st, they form teams because USA Hockey requires those teams to be formed by then for travel tournaments. But they do it, and it's worked. And the high school coach is like, now I have 120 kids to pick from for my high school team, whereas before I had 40, I had 30. It makes such a huge difference to have numbers, especially in a sport like hockey, where actual hockey doesn't really start to happen until maybe Bantams.
Right.
Like before Bantams, it's pretty much who's the best skater, who's spent the most time playing hockey. Yeah. That's going to be the player who has the most success. So
isn't USA Hockey going to like a new format next year where there's going to be like one giant league or something?
I haven't heard this.
There's something going on where it's changing. The model is changing for AAA program hockey through USA Hockey, where because there's no leagues anymore. Like they just go and play showcases and stuff, and then there's a ranking system, and then they go to national. They play state tournament to go to regional, go to nationals. But there's no league during the season. You play 70 games, but it's just random tournaments and showcase weekends and all that. I've heard that there's a model coming out where there's going to be divisions and leagues maybe or something. I don't know.
Interesting. I mean, the big problem in Minnesota is you have all these kids who play the AAA stuff.
Right.
But they can't play in those tournaments.
Right. Minnesota's on an island. I'm talking about the rest of the team.
No, I know. Hockey. I know, but the way Minnesota got around that is Minnesota hockey has a tier 1 league, which is made up of kids from a district who play in a Minnesota tournament, and that's how they get the bid to the national tournament. That's how you saw the Cullens score those goals, to win their league. Yeah. And you had so many Minnesota hockey people be like, these are just a bunch of northern Minnesota kids who've only been playing together for 2 weeks. It's those kids have been playing together for 10 years, but not on the same team. Right. They go back to their community and then they come together. So
I love that model. I mean, like I said, I'm not kidding. My sister, maybe in 2 years, my sister might be living in a diner or something like that. I'm not even kidding. The way the cost, she's a single mom. She works in the education profession. She doesn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to throw around for her kid to play hockey, but she also knows he loves it. And I don't know if he's going to be good enough or whatever, but it wouldn't surprise me. I'm not even kidding.
Well, it's crazy about Edina hockey is this summer I saw a Edina girl team getting together, and Zach Parisi and Stefan Vayu are their coaches. And I saw an Edina team this week at Northeast Ice Arena in Minneapolis, and Devin Dubnik's their goalie coach. And it's peewees or squirts,
and he's probably not getting paid.
Oh, he's not getting paid.
No.
Right.
He's just
volunteer.
That's just the model. It's just the model. But if you go to certain other Honey Baked,
right,
or whatever, it's you guarantee that coach is being paid. He's just not doing it.
Yeah.
I
mean, I skate with a bunch of coaches on Wednesday afternoons. So we skate in the daytime, and these guys coach at night, right? And they're AAA coaches, and the amount of money they make a good amount during the season, and they make maybe even more if they want to push it to do their summer, camps or personal sessions, right? Essentially, you pay these guys to have them for 4 hours in the morning. It's take your kid to go to camp for the morning because school's out right in the summer. So they can make cash doing that. These guys these guys get paid a good amount of money now to be in coaching. It's not it's a full-time gig. You can't be a part-time AAA coach.
Yeah, I got to coach Minnesota hockey camp this spring. And it's $1,000 for 20 hours ice time. And I was like, oh, this is great. This is really nice. I was this is fun. I like doing this.
You do the math. That's not that bad.
That's not that bad.
That's
20.
That's a lot of ice.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's an hour per time, or even if it's an hour 20.
And the thing is, you love it too, Viggs, don't you?
It's great. It's really fun to work with a bunch of kids who want to work hard and get better, and
you get to have a little fun with it, because it's not serious time of the year.
Right. Spring hockey is spring hockey. It's fun in games and compete and small areas, skill stuff. It's really a fun time. So
thinking. I like the idea of doing thinking on the ice, situational. Once they're a little older, not at 8, 9, 10, 11. You get to 12, 13, 14. It's not all about stick skills and small areas. Okay, situationally, or going to open ice, slowing down, speed, think hockey,
changing the pace, changing the pace of the game.
Think tank, right, Topher? Think tank.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not making fun of it. I'm just thinking that it's just it's not all about one-on-one skills getting better that way. It's thinking the game and different ideas and don't rush to the like. Okay, what do I do in this scenario? What do I do in this scenario? Or that kind of stuff. I think that's just as important about is getting your hands faster and stick handling through the stick of the body. Between the triangle or whatever the hell they call that shit now that everybody does all the time.
Well, I think that 14 to 24 is where you have to learn how to manipulate the game to succeed. Because up to 14, you can just win by being faster,
kid or
better, bigger. You can just win by being that.
Yeah.
But like once you get past that, where everybody, like the skill range kind of shrinks and everybody's pretty good.
Everyone's size kind of straight, evens out to an extent.
Mm-hmm. It's like, now how do you succeed?
Right.
And it's by manipulating the game somehow and being able to execute under a little bit of pressure
putting all of it together.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, boys. I think I'm done.
Yep.
You guys have worn me out per usual.
Well, we got to get the voice going. We got to get you on TV.
No, I get it.
Support it.
I got 2.5 weeks. 2 weeks. I guess. Wait, 2 weeks from Friday. So I'll be in the studio for the doubleheader on the 5th, and then I'll be in South Bend on the 6th, and then we get a month off.
World Juniors. Hopefully, Vigo and I are there. What's looking?
World Juniors. That'll be really fun. Why wouldn't you guys be there?
Well, it's tough credentials. It's tough.
Is it? Oh, right. For especially for the U.S. games, obviously.
International is.
Just, I mean, if you want to go see, Slovakia and
it's not just that.
Play.
It's just there's Canada dominates it, but there's strict rules.
Right.
We're hoping that some people put in some good words for us, right, Vigs?
Yeah.
But I try to be as professional as I can be in all my stuff. So
that's a very international tournament. You're right. That'll be a whole different. You're gonna feel like you're not in the same place when you're going to Mariucci. Now the U.S. won't play at Mariucci, right?
No. They won't.
It's all Grand Casino.
But one person that is kind of running Mariucci is former SID for Minnesota, Kevin Kurt.
Wow.
He's the one who initially got us credentialed at Mariucci back in 2006, 2007 season.
Wow.
He worked for Let's Play Hockey for a little bit too. He's now working for the city of Minneapolis, and obviously they're really involved with the whole thing. And I'm like, wow, you're returning to Mariucci, back to your roots. So I might have to make a trip over to Mariucci and see some games. It's what's kind of fun though is that Canada's not getting Gophers locker room. Finland is getting Gophers locker room, so they get the nice
for the whole
preliminary round that they're playing at Mariucci. Canada will get one of the other locker rooms, and Finland will have the posh Gopher locker room. I mean, it's like
Canada's playing at Mariucci all their games.
Mm-hmm. Preliminary, yep. Their Group B or whatever it is playing.
Well, right, but I mean, those games will be sold out. I mean, you'd think, right?
Well, I think it makes sense for them to sell out that rink.
Yeah,
sure. So,
how many? I mean,
10,000 seats, and they've got suites and stuff. Like,
this is correct. Canada's locker room will be over at Ritter, but it won't be the women's. They won't get the posh women's either. Because the women are there. They will still be occupying their own locker room. The men are getting a designated locker room over at Ritter as well.
Oh,
they'll still be practicing. They'll still be practicing, and
sure,
even though they're they do play. They do play that week. They head
in January or late December.
Early January they have an exhibition at Bemidji, but so they got to still get practice, right? Because they still got to get ice time.
They almost have a full month, huh? December 5th, last game, number 6.
Yeah,
or 5th because they play 4th, 5th
on my birthday.
Ohio State.
There you go, on his birthday.
5th. Nice. I believe both those games are on BTN Thursday and Friday. Friday's the doubleheader. The first game is Minnesota, Ohio State, and that'll be early. That'll be like a 5:00 Central, because the second game is an Eastern time. It has to be off by 8:30 because it's Michigan and Michigan State. So you'll have a 5:00 Central on Friday night. I believe.
Boo.
What do you mean happy hour, man? You'll just be
Happy
staying
hour.
there for the day.
It's tough to get down there with traffic at that time. It just
My
is.
kid.
Oh no,
loves
no,
the
no!
5
It's on the
o'clock
road.
start.
It's at Ohio State.
Yeah, that is fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, sorry.
You're gonna be in
Oh, yeah,
your
totally.
cave there.
I will be in
In the man cave.
You're right.
How what size TV you have down there in your cave now?
65.
Okay, I think I have a 55 now, and I think I'm upgrading. I'm going 7. I'm skipping 65.
I could go that.
I'm going 7.5.
The wall is only 9 feet long that it's up against, so
Dude,
it does take up a lot of. Let me see here.
I don't care. I hope my whole wall is gone. I don't care. I want that.
You kind of see it fits up quite a bit of the wall there.
Yeah, no, it's nice. I just this is, a 5-year purchase type thing, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
Well,
and you got
it should be a business expense for you, Cappy, so you can stream all
there
games
you
at once,
go.
right?
yeah, I'll just send over the bill right over to Fox and BTN, sure.
Well, talk to your accountant. I'm sure you got an OSU buddy who's an
I'm
accountant
sure
who
I get
set this up
tax
for you.
write-off, a tax
Yeah,
write-off.
tax write-off.
The whole like whatever
This
Black Friday price I get for it this week.
This is all for work. I mean, clearly nothing personal about hockey with you.
My accountant does a lot of whatever, write-offs for me with using my place as my office and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, you just wrote off your iPad, your iPhone, your laptop, all with this podcast.
As they all die in battery. That's another reason I got to go. It's like my phone battery's down to like 6% now.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get like a battery bank.
So if you lose,
if
my phone dies, you lost me for sure. But I want to close this off before that happens, because that would just be sad.
And we'll shut it down here because we'll have to see if we can get your video uploaded. So we'll say goodbye to people. Have a great week,
Thanks everyone. Thanks guys.
Keep the faith.
Look forward to the new year. Happy holidays, everyone.
Yes.
Be safe and have fun.
Bye, gang. Kicked myself out like 3 times today.
Yeah, nice job.
I know.
It'll work.
But I didn't click any button. It didn't happen.
You think all those guys who signed their NLIs are going to come in next year?
I think one of them will.
I think we might be seeing a